is going on? That should be working. All right, looks like it's working now. Crazy, I have to keep doing this. All right, start the party as usual with some solid JJ.
Meanwhile, at the Daily Planet, hold on, Perry, you're firing all three of us?
I'm afraid so, Cat.
I don't understand, Chief. We're the #1 paper in Metropolis.
Yeah, well, ever since Superman showed up, it's been hard to get anyone to pick up the paper. Superman fights a giant flying starfish. You know how people find out about it? They look up. It's hard to miss
But
it.
Chief...
It's like having a fire department in the middle of the ocean. They're covered. The only people who don't know the most relevant moment of the day every day around here are the blind, those cheap bastards.
But what about the investigative work we do here?
Okay, you can't really expose Lex Luthor more than like 3 times. But by the 12th time, it's kind of redundant.
But why us three in particular?
Well, Lois, because we can't afford her getting herself into trouble anymore. Jimmy, because of his lifeless eyes.
Extremely
Yeah, all right. And you,
apropos
Ken,
today.
because, honestly, I don't know what you actually do. You seem to vanish whenever breaking news type events happen, which isn't very helpful in this line of work.
Well, I wasn't planning on sharing this with you all anytime soon, but Jimmy, I trust you. Lois, you deserve to know. And Perry, well, you won't have to keep any more secrets for long.
What's that?
The truth is...
Oh!
Superman!
That's right.
Where'd Clark go?
Huh?
Are those his clothes?
Good for you two.
Oh, wait. Okay, I see what's going on here. It's my Kryptonian glasses.
Your what?
My Kryptonian glasses. They induce a sort of hypnotic spell on others to conceal my identity. I suppose such long-term exposure might have caused some confusion.
That sounds really dumb.
Well, you're really dumb because you can't tell...
Super.
Okay, look. How about this? Glasses on.
Clark? Superman? Clark? Superman? Clark? Superman? Clark? Superman?
Damn it, my disguise is just too fucking good.
My mouth feels dry.
All right, what if I do this, huh? What if I just put these sunglasses on now? What's up? Who am I?
Some sort of mysterious third person.
El Diablo.
Oh, Satan, you think I'm the
I
devil?
don't know how you're doing this, Superman, but it's quite disorienting.
Yeah, could you bring Clark back? I think he was just about to tell us that you guys are dating.
Jesus Christ. Oh, okay, you know what? Let's settle it then. Okay, who am I?
You're Superman?
Right. How about now?
You're... Huh.
This is really funky with your heads now, isn't it?
Clark Kent in a Superman
No.
outfit?
That's Superman wearing glasses.
What if it's Clark in a Superman outfit pretending to be Superman wearing Clark's face?
It is confusing.
I don't know
how
who
that
you
works.
are.
Come on, guys, you're so close to getting it. So if I'm not one and I'm not the other, then maybe...
I don't
All right,
understand.
guys, it wasn't that good a disguise.
The
Come on.
world's not supposed to work like this.
What?
You're wrong. You are wrong.
Oh, Jimmy,
you
all right.
take off your glasses and you become a completely different person. Everything I understood about the world is
All right,
wrong.
everyone relax. I didn't mean to mess with your perception of reality.
Reality's whatever we make it. We need to burn it down. We need to burn it all down.
Calm down.
Very good.
Just get off of me.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I've been messing with your head for so long, and it wasn't supposed to be this way. They're just fucking glasses. Please, I'm sorry. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Nah, relax, Cameron. It's
Yeah,
fake.
just office pranks, dude. We knew it was you.
Always knew the
Yeah,
whole
it's
time.
Dawson.
Easy peasy.
You did?
Yeah, it's fucking glasses, dude. Come
What,
on.
do you think we're stupid?
But why did you do all of that?
No, we're terrible people.
you Malfoy.
All right, so why just put...
This video is brought to you by Gamersupps. And if you're not quick, you can get my personal favorite thing of theirs, which is their canned drinks. And they're introducing a brand new flavor with their Peach Mango Brand Risk. Yeah, Brand Risk. Remember that? That's a great
Brand
flavor.
Risk?
That one's got a little kick to it. Just remember to use code SOLID to get 10% off any order, and it helps the channel, and it helps me, and I love you. That's all. If you're listening this far, then that's cool. This is my little
Thanks,
soapbox, I guess.
I forgot
This
to
video
push
is
the
kind of
button to
rushed,
start
to
it
be
on
honest with you.
Twitch.
Had some things lined up. They're not completely done yet, so I kind of had to scramble to get something together. So I'm sorry if this is not one of the stronger ones, and if you didn't
6
really
minutes
like it so
left.
much. I personally don't want to put shit out that I don't feel 100% about, so this is like a 90% range area. So I just wanted to make a comment and say that, you know, I promise that we're not just throwing slop out. I'm sorry that this is kind of a stinky video, but promise that the next few ones are going to be great, and you guys are going to love what's coming next. All right, goodbye.
See what happens when you check YouTube chat? So much
Order.
better. All right, so on the docket, and let me see if I can pull this up. No, I can't pull this up. Our good friend Doghouse was proposing that maybe, I don't know what I'd do without you, my dude. come to find out, Democrats have had the latest documents for a few days, and he's proposing that Chuck Schumer is playing 12D chess and reopening the government so that they could release the documents. And then lo and behold, today we get some fun emails, but 3 emails does not make for a full release of documents, which is definitely not enough. But this is fun for now.
Has been growing increasingly frustrated by the Epstein case because it will not go away, and now it is back in the headlines with the White House labelling this as a politically motivated smear campaign. And they're talking about emails that have been released by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, and we'll show you some of those emails. Now, one is from Jeffrey Epstein, who sent this email to his former girlfriend and associate Ghislaine Maxwell. It was sent in April 2011, and I'll read it for you. Jeffrey Epstein sent to Ghislaine Maxwell, "I want you to realise that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Victim, the name redacted, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police..."
I can turn that down. Yeah, these came up default. So, yeah, even though you have witnesses or, victims that came out and said, hey, this person did this, they were there, it's always the issue that they're not going to believe it until they can see it in black and white, which is irritating, but yeah, geez, all my settings got screwed up. I just updated. This is maddening. Okay, that should be better. Well, I mean, these emails are in black and white, and once they get rid of the redacted, or if they do get rid of the redacted or they get more information, they're going to have to acknowledge that these things happen. Because they always want to say when a victim comes out, oh, why did they wait this long? It must be lying. Huh, that's weird. Don't know why. Again, all my settings are all screwed up today. Maybe I'm going to need to restart at some point, but I'm going to leave it alone for now because it'll probably just screw up more things and I'll have to restart the stream. So, but yeah, I just turned it up. Let me see, check the mixer, make sure it's using the right codec. Yep, everything is good. Yeah, it's as good as it's gonna get for right now. Don't tell me it's picking up my fan but not picking me up. But either way, I'll let the video do the talking for now.
Chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Now, Republicans have now said publicly that the victim whose name is not mentioned there is actually Virginia Giuffre, who recently took her own life. Now, it is important to say that Virginia Giuffre has extensively spoken about her experiences with Jeffrey Epstein and has never accused President Donald Trump of any wrongdoing. In another email that Epstein sent to an author in 2019, he said that Donald Trump, quote, knew about the girls. It is...
And Wolf was also invited to talk to Epstein and invited to meet with Epstein because Epstein wanted him to do a piece on him as the Donald Trump whisperer. And thank you for the bits, my dude. 7-stream streak. You are truly great. So the ego on Jeffrey Epstein and trying to use Trump to influence, knowing full well what was going down, just kind of put the nails in his coffin. And thankfully there's email correspondence between the two. But Jeff Epstein, being friends with Trump for over a decade, knew exactly what was going on here. What's good, Ike? W. Ike.
Unclear what the phrase knew about the girls meant. Now, the White House has been quick to respond to this, saying that the Democrats selectively leaked emails to the liberal media.
The Democrats selectively leaked emails to the liberal media to create a fake narrative to smear President Trump.
To create
Nonsense.
a fake narrative to smear President Trump. these stories are nothing more than bad faith efforts to distract from President Trump's historic accomplishments. Now, Republicans were quick to say that these emails were leaked without any context, and then Republicans on that.
Under what context would this be good? I can't think of any context in which these could be spun in a good light. It's kind of bonkers that they think people are so stupid that any amount of context would change this. And by the way, if anybody wants to hop into the Discord to talk about the realities of this or literally anything else going on, I can always switch over and we can just get like a little mini panel going. So let me know what's up.
That same oversight committee released more than 20,000 documents that are still being sorted through now.
What's good, Mike?
Democrats believe, though, that this means we still need more answers about the Jeffrey.
Do you think
Epstein
Donald Trump is
files.
innocent,
President
Mike?
Trump has been growing increasingly frustrated by the Epstein case because it will not go away.
So we got these here documents. House Oversight Committee releases Jeffrey Epstein email correspondence raising questions about White House cover-up of Epstein files. Hot off the presses today. Innocent of being innocent. Today, Oversight Democrats and Ranking Member Robert Garcia released never-before-seen emails from the latest production from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, striking a blow against the White House's Epstein cover-up. In private correspondence with Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein wrote in 2011 that Donald Trump spent hours at my house with a victim of sex trafficking, referring to Trump as a dog that hasn't barked. In a separate email with author Michael Wolff in 2019, Epstein stated explicitly that Donald Trump knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Because how can you ask someone to stop doing something you don't know that they're doing? Also to keep in mind, just recently, Ghislaine Maxwell filed documents to end her sentence and get ready for a pardon from the White House. So let's see how that works out for her. In another email with Wolff in 2015, Epstein and Wolff discuss if they can craft an answer for Trump's upcoming CNN interview, with Wolff characterizing Epstein's leverage over Donald Trump, saying, if he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the House, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. The Epstein estate released a total of 23,000 documents that the Oversight Committee is currently viewing, and these were just released a few days ago. The more Donald Trump tries to cover up the Epstein files, the more we uncover. These latest emails and correspondence raise glaring questions about what else the White House is hiding and the nature of the relationship between Epstein and the president, said Ranking Member Robert Garcia. The Department of Justice must fully release the Epstein files to the public immediately. What Epstein files? There's no files. The Oversight Committee will continue pushing for answers and will not stop until we get justice for the victims. The 3 emails are below. Yeah, I mean, at very best, he was just hanging out with him, knew what he was doing, and didn't say anything about it. But to act like he could possibly be completely oblivious to anything that was going on makes it look more sus. So, Ghislaine Maxwell to, I'm guessing, Jeffrey Epstein, JEE vacation at Gmail. I've been thinking about that. From Jeff Epstein, yeah. I want you to realize that that dog hasn't barked, that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump. The victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. I mean, you can be sus on Michael Wolff. I don't know what reason he had not to put forward more information, but he's been saying that there's fire with the smoke for a very long time. So I don't think he's been withholding anything per se. Ghislaine to Jeff Epstein. I want you to realize the dog has a bar. Okay, I've been thinking about that. So then email 2. Correspondence between Jeff and Michael Wolff. The victim at Mar-a-Lago redacted. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never remember ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Jelaine to stop. So this seems to be the narrative being put forward, and this is all the information they're going to give, which is mostly about what went on between Trump and Jelaine. I think Victor... Michael Wolf to Jeff. I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, that gives you valuable PR and political currency. You can hang him in a way that potentially generates a positive benefit for you. Or if it really looks like he could win, you could save him, generating a debt. Of course, it is possible. When asked, he'll say Jeffrey is a great guy and has gotten a raw deal and is a victim of political correctness, which is to be outlawed in Trump regime. Yeah, that does seem a bit sus. Like, why is Michael Wolf giving him ideas on how to leverage things? If we were able to craft an answer for him, what do you think it should be? I hear CNN is planning to ask Trump tonight about his relationship with you, either on air or in scrum afterwards. That is crazy. So let's see. So right now, Jeffrey Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell plans to seek commutation from Trump, whistleblower says. And this was 2 days ago. Ghislaine Maxwell, the co-conspirator of the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, is in the process of seeking commutation of her 20-year prison sentence from President Donald Trump, a whistleblower has told House Democrats. The whistleblower came forward with the information to Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee and also alleges Maxwell is getting preferential treatment in prison. I am struggling to keep it all together as it is big and there are so many attachments, Maxwell wrote in an email to her attorney, Leif Safian, which was reviewed by NBC News. The subject line of the email reads, commutation application. I mean, it's continued to be suspect, and until we get more information in general, it's going to stay being suspect. So, like, I don't see what we can really do. In a letter to Trump on Monday, House Judiciary ranking member Jamie Raskin demanded the administration release information about the commutation application and called on Trump to reject the request. You should not grant any form of clemency to this convicted and unrepentant sex offender, Raskin wrote. So already this is, and when they sit there and complain, oh, the Democrats don't want to do anything, they don't want to release the Epstein files, like constantly there's pressure from Democrats to release the information and not, let convicted sex offenders walk away. I don't see why this is so difficult to see, but your administration should not be providing her with room service, with puppies to play with. They're giving her emotional support animals? What? With federal law enforcement officials waiting on her every need, or with any special treatment or institutional privilege at all. Raskin requested that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche appear for a public congressional hearing to discuss the revelations. According to the whistleblower, whose identity the committee has not revealed, Maxwell has received what is described as a concierge-style treatment at the minimum security prison camp that she was transferred to, including customized meals, permission to go to the exercise area after hours, and time to play with a puppy that was being trained by an inmate to become a service dog, among other things. Sounds a little less serious than it originally was. They just need the van. Oh. Not looking good here. As President Trump has stated, pardoning Ghislaine is not something he has thought about. Don't believe him. What's good, Jenny? Saturday that Maxwell said in emails to friends and family that she is happier at the minimum security prison in Texas that she was transferred to. She was moved to the women-only facility over the summer after being held at a low-security facility in Tallahassee, Florida, that housed men and women. Her transfer came a week after she met with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and Maxwell's lawyer, David Oscar Marcus. Maxwell's commutation efforts come amid a spate of pardons and commutations that Trump has issued in recent weeks, including for former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, of course, and others involved in trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election results. Former Rep. George Santos and former Tennessee House Speaker Glenn Casada and his aide. Like, how is this not blatant? This should be grounds to show that they knew what they were doing was illegal, and they were trying to circumvent elections and massive amounts of wrongdoing, and they just get to walk on this. Like, are you serious? This should be grounds for impeachment all the way through, but I guess we're too scared to do that now because it didn't work the first time, and if they do it again, all of a sudden, no, it's just lawfare. In early October, the Supreme Court rejected Maxwell's challenge to her criminal conviction for recruiting and grooming teenage girls for sexual abuse by Jeffrey Epstein. When asked at the time whether he would consider pardoning her, Trump said, "I haven't heard her name in so long. I can say this, that I'd have to take a look at it." What is there to look at? Apparently, according to him, it's like, why are we still even talking about this? Freaking bonkers. Okay, I'm going to give us a palate cleanser because that was disgusting to listen to and deal with to begin with. Let's go with something a bit more fun. And if we want to talk about it more later, so be it.
Yep, this is me in a field in Utah about to find out who can eat more hot dogs, a competitive eater or a grizzly bear.
You want a napkin?
Oh, I heard,
Okay, you're good.
but he's doing more. Like within the last few weeks, there's been more.
Competitive eating, a fierce battleground where people from all over the world compete to see how much food it's possible to stuff down your gob.
You show me a chatbot that can eat 59 hot dogs, and I'll buy into this AI nonsense.
Now, normally these competitions have been limited solely to man versus man, but I had a thought the other day.
Who do you think wins in a competitive
Some of this
eating
food looks
competition,
amazing.
A professional or a grizzly bear?
That's a good question.
So, let's find out. But first, I would need to find a bear. Introducing Tank. Tank lives in Utah, in the USA. He's 7 foot tall and 800 pounds.
Oh, he's a good boy.
Tank is an ex-actor, most famous for his starring role opposite Eddie Murphy in Dr. Dolittle 2.
I like the bear I am. I'm famous.
But these days, he spends most of his time swimming, playing,
I've never seen a bear 69 someone before.
and roaming around the thousands of acres around his ranch.
Hey, Tank. He's a happy bear.
Tank was rescued from a zoo as a cub and has been lovingly reared in the Utah wilderness. And he
Well,
was
yes, a
more
talking
than happy
bear.
to
Why
take
wouldn't it be a
part
talking
in my
bear?
eating competition, as hot dogs are his favorite food.
He can eat a lot of food.
Yeah.
Has he ever
I
competed?
mean, here in America, we throw away more food because we don't want to give poor people free food. So there's actually been lawsuits because I know when I worked at Starbucks, we used to bag up all the leftover, pastries and stuff that nobody was eating, and then we would donate them. Now they're not even allowed to donate them for whatever reason. We just throw food away because there's just no means to hand it out to people, which I find to be something we need to deal with pretty handily, and I think it would solve a lot of problems. But my proposition this morning was anything that's subsidized by the government should be able to be free. Like, if our tax dollars are paying for it, it should be free.
In a eating competition? Nope. Do you think he would do
Yep,
quite
they
well
claim
in
it's to
eating
avoid
competition?
liabilities because if you get a sandwich and somebody gets sick, all of a sudden.
With Tank and his dad on board with this hot dog eating plan, I would need to find a competitor to go up against him. Now, there is one man who is the obvious challenger to Tank, Joey Chestnut. the undisputed GOAT of professional eating. The man can get through 76 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
I got leftover room, so I'll be having some beers later.
Unfortunately, he didn't get back to me when I reached out and seemingly only does videos with Mr. Beast. So to look for this challenger, I went to a Nathan's hot dog eating event to meet the best in the world.
How you doing? What's the bout about?
3-time Nathan's Chug champion.
This is the hardest chug known to man.
Oh, jeez.
And it was clear
Make a
that they
big
take
gulp
competitive
bag?
eating very seriously.
And so, like, just considering if people were like literally dumpster diving for food and things like that, like the idea that donated food is going to be that much more dangerous is just kind of crazy. But this is the world we live in. But they say that churches give the most charitable donations, so we can't give them SNAP. We can't donate food. What can we really do, like, beyond just like having food set up for people to come and eat, like at a soup kitchen?
They say that competitive eating is the battleground upon which God and Lucifer wage war for men's souls.
This is quite serious.
I watched as the men and women of New York took on some glizzies, whilst I played along.
3, 2, 1, go!
And let me tell you, eating lots of hot dogs is no joke.
It was 5, I've got half of one.
And my posh little tum-tum could barely keep up.
He said posh little tum-tum.
Can you open this for me? Thanks.
With me full of sausages and a winner crowd, I thought I should ask around as to who would be the
Phrasing.
best person to be Tank's competitor. And there was one name that kept on coming up.
Nick is in the running.
Who's Nick?
Oh, Nick Weary?
Nick Weary.
You should definitely have Nick Weary.
Nick Weary would be a guy, I guess. Yeah.
Really? I've heard this name floating around a few times.
He's no joke. He's the real deal.
Not here today, but...
He's not here today. The name that kept on coming up on my fact-finding mission was the one and only Nick Weary.
He's the number 4 competitive eater in the world.
Alongside his wife Mickey, who's the best female competitive eater in the world, he can put down a glizzy like nobody else. And he's also a lovely man. So I reached out and he agreed to be my champion in the Battle of the Species.
Slammed in Salt Lake City.
I nipped to the airport to meet Nick.
Nick? How you doing, man?
And we jumped in the car. These were two men who were about to be sat next to a grizzly bear, but it all was good vibes.
Once I'm on stage in front of
Why did it freeze?
everybody, then
There
it's
it
like,
goes.
you
All
kinda like
good.
just put me- Yeah, you just put me in the cubicle. It's time to go to work.
We drove an hour or so from the airport to Tank's house, where we were greeted by Tank's mum Lynn, who's been looking after Tank since 1996. We were shown down to the arena, given a very quick safety
got the
briefing, which
burr.
was vital before Tank turned up. And there was one final thing to do, and that was to get properly hydrated. And what better way to do that than from Tank's stream, with Air Up. Air Up is the newest and best way to keep yourself hydrated.
You see, in the top of my Air Up bottle is a scent
I thought it was
taste
gonna be
pod
socks.
with a variety of different flavours that I can choose from.
With natural fruit flavours like lime, raspberry lemon, and wild berry, to some more playful recent additions.
Air Up works using the science of retronasal taste. What this really is water, but my brain is telling me that it's actually wild berry. You can fill up your Air Up bottle from any water source, so I'm here in this
Fast
for this. And
forward.
thank Air Up
Not
To
enough.
support the channel.
Even further.
Each
We
competitor
need to
has
see what the bear can
75
do.
hot dog sausages in front of them. We wanted to use buns, but Tank is gluten-free. I would be sat there as a control to see what the average person could eat, and I was hoping to beat my 3.5 from New York. The winner is simply the first to finish their plate. Between Tank and us was a very thin electric wire, which I found out afterwards wasn't even turned on. So hopefully, if Tank did finish his plate, he wouldn't be looking at us as his 76th hot dog.
Are you ready?
I guess so, yeah.
With everyone in place,
Like,
Tank
what do they do to
arrived
keep
the
the
party.
bear
Hey,
from...
buddy.
What's going on?
3, 2, 1, eat.
Oh.
Tank got off to a slowish start as he explored the table somewhat.
Hey, thanks for the
This allowed
sub-fister.
Nick to get into a commanding lead as he was shoving down glizzies at an alarming rate. I, however, had my knife and fork and was mainly concerned with not ruining my dinner jacket.
Do you want a napkin? No, okay, you're good.
Nick was definitely pulling away, but this is when Tank turned it on and really got stuck in. I've been told by Tank's dad that he loved words of affirmation,
Oh, this
so I
bear
was
is
less focusing
annihilating
on my
those hot
sausages
dogs.
and more focusing on trying to get Tank not to eat me.
Well done,
Exactly,
Tank.
just
You're
sitting
doing
right
great.
next to a
Tank
brown
was
bear
really
like
getting into it
everything's
and was
cool.
also looking over at Nick to see how he was doing. With front row access, I was in awe seeing these two
Eyes forward,
beasts
Tank.
going head to head, and it was pretty close. These two were locked in and were fully focused on the biggest event of their lives. And so was I, because I was thinking about my new Comedy World Tour Loophole, where I show you the biggest loophole I've ever found. So big I actually can't make a video about it. You'll understand what I mean when you come to the show. I'm going all over the world,
Yeah,
so grab your tickets at maxfosh.co. In the meantime,
These are things
Tank
you don't
was
see
getting
black
to
people
the end
doing.
of his plate, and Nick was struggling to keep up.
Just being
Yummy,
honest.
yummy. You have ripped the tablecloth, it slightly worries me.
And 3 minutes 4 seconds after we'd started, Tank
Like
was
imagine it
done.
runs out of food and it's just like, hey,
Tank had done it.
gonna move slightly
Nick,
to the left.
so close with only 7 hot dogs behind. But the game's the game. And like the classy guy he is, instead of sticking around to gloat, Tank went back home, ready to take on the next challenger.
Nick, how do you feel?
I think I need to change my undies. Yeah. I've never had somebody tear up the tablecloth next to me while I was eating. But no, that was a terrifying, amazing, one-of-a-kind experience.
Couldn't pay me.
So, if you're having a hot dog eating competition between a human and a bear, the bear normally wins.
I would have assumed the bear was going to win, but I mean, that's neither here nor there. So, fun enough, a music video popped off, and I can't stop watching it. Let me find it real quick.
$999,998, $999,999, 1 fucking million! Let's fucking go! Fucking told you we could do it, gang.
Hang on a second. Who is the 1 million subscriber?
He just sent us an email. Open it up, SpongeBob.
Oh, I bet this fucking cheapskate wants free merch or something.
Okay, shut
Little
up.
bit of
I'm reading
music, but that's just because
Since you mouth-breathing imbeciles clearly
this hits
forgot
all the
to
right
plan anything
notes
for the 1 million subscriber milestone, a rather significant number, mind
and
you,
feeds into
I
the
took it
next
upon
React
myself
video
to
I
craft
have.
something worthy of the occasion. You're welcome, cretins.
Wait, there's an attachment. I think you should click it, SpongeBob.
Hey, you know who it is? Slow Stu.
Some globe.
Hey, Rupert, come here. Turn me up. Turn me up.
It's not entirely AI. And that's why I had to subject you to this. I'm not gonna have to deal with this all by myself. If it's stuck in my head, it's stuck in yours now. I mean, I guess we have time.
If I'm out in Kohak, don't say hi. I got a stick in that bitch for 5. You know at my lowest, I'm still getting high. And if I'm with Lois, I'm blowing inside. Vegas a bitch, but I'll let it slide. Stewie the goat, I think that he buy. Brian my duck and
Peter on it.
But that's just a life of a family guy.
Bar was crazy.
I'm sharing that chicken, it's beef, I'm beef. Yeah, and all my life is fake and sweet. I put my Philly in all the sweets. And I got my homies up out of the streets. Cleveland is black and able. Joey is white and disabled. I hit my knee on the table. Stewie, come in and save it.
Meg never said. And block a channel on YouTube to keep this away from you. I'm not gonna lie, the production is solid, so I can't say no. All right, one more.
Hey, Barnacle Boy, have you ever tried
And the
that
intros
coffee?
are insane.
Oh, yes, I've had my days sipping that mud, but lately I just been smoking up a stogie and thinking about all the faces I see when I go to sleep and all the dead bodies in the truck. Wait, did you hear that?
Huh?
Oh, you're fucked now, Denkton.
No, Eugene!
Art. Get that money, SpongeBob, now. Be quick, boy. That's everything. Go, go, go.
This one. Oh, bottom two. So you didn't say which bottom. Sick intro. Can't nerf me, Sandy OP.
Like my motherfucking house is. Hit that dosey dough and smack you where your mouth is.
How they gonna let Squidward get on the bars?
Grab my clarinet and smoke them up his body ounces. My treat the finger flash, rub it on. I'm addicted to this cash. I want it all. Let the chopper blow his brat, bend him over, set relax. Put some lead up in his ass, still hetero.
You know the crab like money.
Know the spines like fun.
Know the store keeps shining.
Know the squid likes guns.
What we all got in common when the shit's said and done is a dead fucking road cheddar city that we run. That's how the beam of my eyes grow. Sipping hella lean, smoking hydro. When I hit the
Crazy
reef,
one.
turn it tidal. Gary is my shadow, bitch, he go wherever I go.
Gary hit him with the. Gary hit him with the.
Gary hit him with the.
Not gonna lie, you're right, Moan. This is exactly what the internet was made for. We've lost our way.
I put it like this. I'm trying to do what I need to do, get my behind back home. All right?
okay.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
And then from Zephyr,
Are you feeling
another
it?
banger. Let's see how this works out.
I'm old school hip hop, bro. I don't need this trap crap.
All right, what are you feeling? What do you want?
Something old school.
Okay, and what you're gonna rap for me?
I'll rap
Okay.
for you.
What are your favorite instruments to hear in a beat?
Oh God, see you out here. You gotta ask me.
I want to figure out what you want to hear.
I like piano, hard nice beats with good
But the chords are smooth.
Could be smooth, but again, I'm old.
I haven't seen it.
I got you.
I ain't with this trap bull.
Okay. I'm excited. I'm ready.
I know.
Let me figure out what
Yeah,
chords I'm
with
gonna
the
play. all right?
trapping.
Yeah, figure that out.
Okay.
Okay, I see. Let me hear what you're working with.
And then I'm going to show something that is irritating me right now.
Perfect. That's nice. Alright, I like that. Ready? Nothing to lose, everything to gain in life. I spit bars, gotta get the crowd with hype. I'm old school with this hip hop, making it stop. I rock the block, I make sure I'm making it hot. Too much is going on, I gotta keep it strong. I rollin' dice, trying to stay on real long. Why is hip hop the way it needs to be right now? Old school is the way we gotta be right now. I got enough on my plate, yes I will debate. I step up when the time is late. When it's time to go in, I go hard, no debate. If I lose, I come back stronger, you hate. I'm here where I need to be, mental is sharp, like a knife in and out, man, you will get cut. You don't wanna feel that pain, it's hard on your brain. So much is going on and I can't explain. Gospel Gabe is the name I rip. Gospel rap and hip hop, that's what I spit. I make sure y'all understand that this legit. When I go hard, I make sure that I spit. I'm really going in for y'all who don't understand. I'm trying to do what I can, trying to be this man. 47 years old, yet I still stand. I'm doing what I gotta do, trust the God in every hand. I'm looking at a crowd that's hype, they're recording. TikToker on a mic, he's still roaring. Yes, I know what you're doing is right, the beat is nice. Yes, so I'm flipping it right. Third base, I remember the gas face. Leaders of the new school acting a fool. We jam, let's put the work in now. I pop a blood vessel, hearing the
Thank you,
sound.
Grand Designs.
In your ear, you can hear it very clear. Y'all don't understand what it's like out here. From Brooklyn, been through the gutters, I'm here. Trust God to get me through every fear in my years. Look, I trust him like I trust my word. I trust him like I trust that curve. Straight from the sewer we rap. Going in all day, man, this not trap. I'm going hard cause I know what it is, I bring it back. Yeah, man, that's me, I gotta go. Woo!
Not bad at
But I
all.
really do this though. Know what? I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do one more for y'all.
One more for me?
You got one more?
You want me to keep
Sick.
the beat or I'll make a fresh one though if you want?
Alright.
How much of a rush are you in?
I put it like this. I'm trying to do what I need to do, get my behind back home.
Oh,
Alright?
okay.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
I'll make a fresh one. Is that cool? Real
Yeah.
quick.
Did y'all like that? I really do this.
The dude
I
knows
messed
how
up a
to
little
work
bit,
the
I did.
crowd.
But it's okay.
You
I'm
sounded good
alright
to me,
with
bro.
that.
You sounded perfect to me.
It's okay. Right. All day. Now, the one part where it's nice at
Sick.
and the part where you don't go to when it's cold.
Beat is already speaking.
Nah, it's not that.
Oh, she is, but it's worth it. Dude's gonna be proud of himself for the rest of the night.
The beat is ready? Alright, that's all I need to know. Alright. I hear echoes of hip-hop throughout my timeline. I was just a child listening for the punchline. I kept hearing KRS criminal-minded. He had beef with Shan, that's why I rewind it. This was a battle, hip-hop was the stage. I was J.O. listening to mixtapes. The response was crazy, out of control. MC Shan responded, KRS exploded. Hip-hop is the reason why we overloaded. I was learning to rap,
This is ill.
making mistakes. I was watching Beat Street break dancing on tape. Listening to G-Rap ride beats, no mistakes. The flow was different, it couldn't be touched. Unique, his rap flow, he spit was heat. Couldn't understand how he wrote beats like this, but this is hip-hop, and legends don't miss. I got to have it, have it. You rockin' with kings and queens. I got to have it, have it. Bronx made hip-hop a dream. I got to have it, have it. This is a hip-hop thing. These are kings and queens of hip-hop. Throw your hands in the air. wave them all around. Pump the volume up like Rock Kim and play it loud. I can't play with these biting rappers, biting every style. No originality, finish him now. He's on stage, homie now, moving the crowd. He needs to drop the mic and give it to me right now. I came to cause havoc and give you a show. This is hip hop, we ain't playing in the gong show. This is hip hop, we give you more, we got so. It gets you to your veins like a drug overdose. You hear the bass is pumping, keeps the crowd jumping. Hands in the air like I wanna stick something. If Pop gave us something, well we had nothing. The Bronx created
Oh no, he wouldn't have liked this hippity
no
hoppity
frontin'.
stuff.
Can't say
He'd have been real
nothing.
heated.
The mic was live, this is hip hop. Kings and queens, they don't die. I got to have it, have it. You rockin' with kings and queens. I got to have it, have it. Bronx made hip hop a dream. I got to have it, have it, have it, have it. This is a hip hop thing. Have it. These are kings and queens of hip hop. Alright. Okay, I see what you're doing.
That was ill.
Modern atheists, in their cynical reason, may be the most devout believers.
Oh, okay. So before we get to this, I was already going in that direction, Grand Design. There's a puppet that's pissing me off these days.
Did God write the Bible with his Holy Spirit, though? No, absolutely not.
Yep, he did.
As someone who has a degree in biblical studies, I can prove it to you.
As someone with no degree at all, I'll completely debunk her.
First of all, there are thousands of contradictions in the Bible.
No, there aren't. Just things that need understanding, giving cultural context, or understanding of how ancient languages worked. And I'll help you with that.
For example, in Genesis chapter 1, it says that man and woman was created together after all the animals. But in Genesis chapter 2, it says that man was created first, then animals, then the woman.
And actually, that's not true at all. If she'd actually
This
applied
fucking
her
puppet.
biblical studies degree, she would find this out. Genesis 1 was an overview of everything that had happened. Here's the long, big timeline, so you can see everything. Genesis chapter 2 is zooming in. It says, here's specifically how man was made and then woman. And Genesis 1 mentions man and woman.
So let's say we
because
let
they
this
were
ride.
time, but there was still a
Let's
process
see
to
how
it.
far this puppet can
Now,
go.
Genesis 2 does not at all say that animals were made after man. It literally says, now out of the ground the Lord God had formed every beast of the field. He did previously.
Avenue
So
Q
that's
looking
not
at
a contradiction at all. And because woman came out of man, then when Adam was made, from God's eyes, both were made. It was just
Now, this puppet is full of crap because there's definitely within one sentence of another sentence, man and woman being created. So he's already full of crap that there is a contradiction here. He's just acting like it's two different accounts because I guess he expects people not to read or not to know about it. But there's a lot of contradictions.
not that hard at all given ancient language and how they would write. And the point that the author is making is that man, like animals, both came from the dirt, but he's about to distinguish them.
Started
He's
from
gonna
the
say,
bottom,
you both
not
came
a-
from dirt, but man is special. Man is set apart. God has a different plan for man. There's no suitable helper, including monkeys, from the animals of the earth.
And he's
needs one
denigrating
like him,
monkeys?
and that's how
It's
Eve was made.
monster.
Also in Genesis 6, chapter 6, it says, the Lord regretted making humans on the earth and then he sent the flood. But in Malachi chapter 3, verse 6, it says that the Lord never changes. So how can he regret and not change?
So it seems like we're going to have an
Here's some
English
BS.
versus ancient Hebrew debate with this lady who clearly did not study ancient Hebrew as a part of her biblical studies degree. When it says regret, in English that has a connotation...
So he just accused her of not studying while saying he has no degrees whatsoever. Just gonna let that
Well,
ride
I
for
wish
now.
I hadn't done it. But in Hebrew, it's simply emotional. That's all it is. It's not that I wish I hadn't. I just feel bad about the situation. This is grieving me. And so I must act upon it. So, yes, God does not change, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have feelings.
I could give you examples like those for days.
Oh, go ahead, because I'd love to debunk each one of them.
But here's the examples I really want you to pay attention to. If God wrote the Bible, it would be completely accurate.
And if man had made copies of the original manuscript...
This is not
there
a
might be
contradiction. This is
variances.
just a flat
But if
out
God
problem with
wrote
logic.
the original Bible, we would know about those variances, which we do. There's no reason why we should know. If God was not in control of making sure his word was accurate, we wouldn't even know if there were errors. But we do. And by the way, most of those errors are spelling or grammar.
God would have all his facts straight.
It doesn't seem like you do.
But in Genesis chapter 1, it says that God created the earth, and then I think the next day he created light and the sun. But science totally confirms that the sun was created millions of years before the earth.
When it says God created light, it's not saying that light had to shine from the sun. He created the existence of light, photons, then the sun, to give that light upon the earth. That does not change the fact that he created light first. The ability, the existence of light has to exist before the producer of it. And just because science tells you something doesn't mean they're right. It's conjecture, it's theory.
Of course not, X-Fister. You couldn't have possibly seen this coming, because the absolute best way for a divine being to be able to put forward a message that they don't want to be confused is to allow people to just write it down for them and play telephone.
Got this wrong? Like you say, I could go on for days. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not anti-science, but I am anti-accepting theory as fact just because it fits my preconceived idea.
So if
Hey,
God
look what
had
I
written
can
the
do.
Bible, he would know.
Thank you, Zephyr.
Oh, you knew that people would come up with theories that would be an attempt to
Dear
reject
T,
him?
for you.
Yeah, he knew that.
In Genesis chapter 7, it says
There-
that God sent
here
a
we go.
flood,
Here's the
but
one.
we have not found any geological evidence that a flood has ever occurred over the entire earth.
Well, I find that odd because the greatest evidence is the greatest canyon in the United States, the Grand Canyon. It's actually one of the best evidences because if it had formed over millions of years, like they say, the tributary rivers would actually flow in the same direction, but they don't.
This jackass is saying that the Grand Canyon was formed by the Great Flood. Let that sink in.
And that's because it was formed over a flash flood of biblical proportions, where the water pushed through like fingers in the sand. And when the water subsided, what was left is tributaries that have to come in and then turn around to join the Colorado River. That's one example. Or how about this one, where you have a giant tree, fossilized, going up through the different strata of rock that are supposedly millions of years old. Don't tell me there's no evidence. You don't have to agree with the conclusion of those evidences, but they are there, whether you like it or not. They found seashells on the top of mountains. Those seashells should not be there because even if you're going to say
What in the Graham
on
Hancock?
the ocean floor,
Now, if anybody out here wants to talk about why there would be seashells at the top of mountains, to act as if there's no such thing as fault lines. Like there isn't movement of the earth, like continental drift in itself. How are mountains formed? I'm going to say some of them may have started in the ocean and then rose up, which would be why you would find seashells at the top of mountains, for among other reasons.
and things moved around, those seashells are way too developed to be as millions of years old as the top of mountains would be. So there's plenty of evidence. You don't have to agree with my conclusion, but there is
I don't
evidence.
agree with your conclusion.
In Genesis
Stupid
and
puppet.
in the book of Job, the Bible describes the sky as like this solid dome, a firmament, which separates the waters from above from the waters below.
Again, someone who does not understand how ancient Hebrew works. There's no metaphorical terms in ancient Hebrew. When it says that God is slow to anger, it literally says he has a long nose. So when they're going to describe something like a big, beautiful sky that's impressive and bold, they'll call it by solid terms like a dome of brass. Now, the waters above, yes, that's still true. There is a vapor canopy that goes all around the world. It still exists today. And there is the theory that the Earth was once surrounded by a thicker layer of water that would actually have filtered out more UV rays and picked up the hyperbaric pressure. This would have extended lifetimes and made plants hardier and more enriching for animals to eat. In fact, they did this experiment at the Creation Museum where they put piranhas in a tank and then kicked up the hyperbaric pressure. They became the size of dinner plates and became vegetarian. Explain that one to me with your millions of years old theory.
Adaptation, my G.
Very inconsistent with scientific facts.
No, it's inconsistent with scientific theories.
In Psalms chapter 104, it says, He sets the earth on foundations, it can never be moved. But we know the earth moves through space at 67,000 miles per hour.
Again, it is a concrete language. It's talking about how the earth is how God wants it and you can't change it. It's not that hard to understand.
It's always moving and spinning.
Yeah, it is spinning, and the Bible actually
That's
says that,
convenient.
but you're not going to point that out. Right here where it talks about it turning like the seal. The seal was actually a cylinder that would impress upon the clay or the wax. And so you would actually roll it along to make the impression. So the seal
Source
is the
creation.
cylinder.
Exactly.
So it turns. Somehow they knew.
No bias
it
here
was spun.
whatsoever. Move
I wonder
along.
who
Nothing
told
to see
them that.
here.
And in Mark chapter 4, it says that the mustard seed is the smallest seed in all the earth. And it's not. It's the orchid seed.
Yes, there are smaller seeds than the mustard seed, but there were no smaller seeds that they were aware of. It was the smallest
Or
of
that
the
God
seeds
was
that they
aware
knew
of.
That doesn't make it wrong. It was spoken to the people that were there. What's God supposed to do? Hey, this seed you haven't discovered yet, I got to mention this. No. It also says in Genesis that Isaac was Abraham's only son, but Ishmael was born first, which you have to understand is their culture. When it says it, it's not always extremely literal. The word only in Hebrew means special or chosen one. It doesn't mean they're literally the only. And so the same thing with smallest of the seeds. It's not literally saying there's not on earth a single smaller seed than this possible. No, it's saying this is the smallest of what we know. Here's the smallest one that you can think of right now.
In Leviticus, it says that a bat is a bird, and it's not. A bat is a mammal.
Again, clear evidence you
Yeah,
haven't seen
kinds
Hebrew.
is another
A
fun
bird
one.
was a term for any flying animal. They did not have any understanding of scientific classifications, feathers versus non-feathers, hair not versus non-hair. A bird was a flying animal, period. If they had seen a pterodactyl, they would have said, look, a giant bird. They classified things differently than we do. That's all it is. And so when we're translating it honestly, then we understand that they classify
Nah,
it
charitably.
differently. Are you
Also,
going to
birds
say
aren't
that
real,
cultures that think
obviously.
differently than you are just inherently wrong?
So that information tells me everything I need to know that the Bible was not written by God or inspired by the Holy Spirit.
And everything that you've produced shows me that you're completely biased and don't know how to do research on ancient languages.
Otherwise, they would not get these simple facts wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
The Bible is a collection of writings by different men of their interpretation of who they think God is.
Through the inspiration of the Holy Spirit.
Which is why
Yeah, the
God
puppet
isn't
pisses me off
consistent
too,
throughout the
Kyle.
whole Bible.
More consistent than you think, and certainly more consistent than you've been.
But if an all-knowing God had written it, it would have been consistent.
Good thing it was.
And it would have been factual.
And good thing it is.
So, to this one now. Let's see what we got.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing. Also check
Dang it,
out
Zephyr,
my
say it
Twitter.
in the chat.
Hello everyone, welcome to Flickr Theory Reviews. I'm your host, Taras Vinokur. Today we will put politics and...
What's up, Z?
What's up?
So, how did you feel about that last video? Did the puppet teach you anything very important?
Well, it taught me how retarded Christian, or was he evangelical apologist, how retarded they are. So here's my question: if God was specifically telling facts that were only relevant to the people who were living in a particular area at the time, does that mean that Christianity is only relevant to the people living in that area now?
I mean, according
Like,
to
why wouldn't-
Judaism, yes, but in general, no.
If God is omniscient and like knows, and Christianity is the universal religion, why is God telling them specifically only about that one area in which they already live? Like, forget. Why would someone care what the smallest seed is?
Well, see, the funny thing about this is not about what the smallest seed is. It's that when Jesus made a claim, he said that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, which to them was the smallest seed at the time, he couldn't think of anything smaller than that. And so he said, you can do great things just like I've done. So,
Also,
when
Jesus said it. So even Jesus.
Yes,
oh my God.
it was
So at least
from-
Jesus should have had the knowledge, the universal knowledge.
That's what I'm saying. So if Jesus was God, he would have known that there are smaller seeds and he could literally let people know about other types of seeds that are smaller.
Right.
But all of a
They could have
sudden,
stored more seeds in a given volume and therefore have had more plants or something.
that would have been far more informative and would give you some opinion that, hey, maybe this religion is onto something. But no,
Right.
that's absolutely not what happened. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Yeah, poppy seeds are smaller. There are so many smaller seeds, and this was the BS. Then you got the whole thing with the Great Flood forming the Grand Canyon. That's bonkers. Like, we know how
I
the
mean,
Grand Canyon
canyons,
was formed.
on a geological scale, as far as I know, canyons do form like in a short period of time, but on a geological scale, like instead of billions of years, it takes millions of years. Like, doesn't take like it's not a flash flood. It doesn't take like 48 fucking hours. Still takes like at least thousands of years to create something like the Grand Canyon. As far as I know, but I'm not a geologist, so.
Well, according to the puppet, it happened within the span of 40 days and 40 nights. Or so the
Okay.
puppet has said.
That was my question, like why this matters, and like I mean, God then basically is saying that it's whatever I'm saying right now is only going to be relevant to you.
Well, the deal
So
is,
either
the Bible is a
God needs
great
to
book of
update
claims.
a great book of claims.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much the entire Bible is just claims.
how many of them are true?
That's the problem. We keep pointing out how the claims aren't true, and they're just like, oh, you just don't understand the language. Oh, you missed the context. Oh, it's just something you don't understand in the dialogue, or the translation is off in this one. Use this translation. There's always going to be some excuse as to why whatever the claim is probably correct, and we just don't know any better.
Yeah, and also I do know about the Younger Dryas flood theory. Okay, shut the fuck up, you moon.
I mean, there's multiple floods written about in different legends and history books, but none of them are global. Because, like, if the flood was global, we probably wouldn't have plant life in the time period that we had it.
Why don't we have the Grand Canyon everywhere?
That would be another thing if that was the case for the Grand Canyon. There's like a bunch of things that aren't consistent with a global flood.
All right, continue. That was my thoughts on the previous video.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming through.
All right.
I'm gonna play this thingy, and if you want to hop in, let me know in the chat, because I have to look at my Discord to see that you're telling me to pull you in. And anybody else to say pull me in, and eventually this can turn into a small, tiny panel, and we can sit here and complain about puppets.
And theology in the same pot. We're looking at the book Political Theology by Saul Newman. We will analyze the relationship between the contemporary state and the divine balance.
Oh, politics and
I will
theology.
answer the question whether
Greatness.
it's actually possible to have a purely secular government that is totally removed from all religious symbols and ceremonies. Is it possible to deprive all political activities of religious mythology? But first, let's discuss the author of this book. Who is Saul Newman? Saul Newman is a political theorist. Currently, he's a professor at Goldsmiths University of London. Actually, he was one of my professors when I was doing my master's degree there. Anyways, most of Saul Newman's research is in the field of post-anarchism, which is a kind of anarchist philosophy that is infused with fancy post-structuralist concepts. To put it simply, post-anarchism moves away from the anarchist focus on the eradication of the state, yet it still maintains the classic revolutionary potential of anarchism in creating autonomous modes of thinking and acting. Post-anarchism is basically just diet anarchism. Let's for a moment
Diet
consider
anarchism?
Saul
That
Newman's
sounds
essay,
terrifying.
Post-Anarchism and Radical Politics Today. Newman here insists that as we're dealing with new forms of religious fundamentalism, neoliberalism, and neoconservatism, we're in desperate need for a new conceptualization of radical politics. For Newman, such radical political theory is post-anarchism, which deprives itself of the classical anarchist preoccupation with essentialist human nature. It deprives itself of social positivism and of ideas about imminent social rationality that drives revolutionary change. Turns out we don't need any more revolutionary change. We're done with that. Newman emphasizes that post-anarchism moves away from class politics and finally acknowledges that social reality is discursively constructed. Post-anarchism, in other words, accounts for the external forces of power and language that affect the creation of a political subject. Newman even goes as far as to utilize psychoanalysis in his post-anarchist theory. He wants to show that the unconscious forces, desires, and drives always exceed rational political
Sparkling
control.
and
No matter what we
assholism.
do,
A little bit.
Freud shows up and he ruins our day. By analyzing the relationship between the subject and social structures, we can, as Newman maintains, attain even greater degree of autonomy and spontaneity than that proposed by classical anarchists such as Proudhon or Bakunin. Post-structuralist theory, in other words, can bring in a discursive cultural space where political subjectivity can be reconfigured. But how much of classical anarchism is still left in post-anarchism? Well, as Newman maintains, post-anarchism is still anarchism because it focuses on actual practices of political emancipation rather than on strategies of reforming institutional arrangements. In other words, post-anarchist theory preserves the classical anarchist skepticism of state sovereignty. Saul Newman here follows Russian classical anarchist Bakunin, who claimed that the equality of political rights entailed by democracy is ultimately incompatible with political right of sovereign state, which will inevitably end up blocking people's political rights. To put it simply, anarchists maintain that political equality can only exist in tension with the sovereign right that stands above society and determines the conditions under which political equality can be exercised. By extension, post-anarchists maintain that political equality is still basically incompatible with state sovereignty. This is the reason why Newman considers post-anarchism
little lost
to be
too.
the most suitable ideology for analyzing contemporary radical politics, since it is, by default, skeptical of political authority and it always privileges practices of collective autonomy and egalitarian emancipation over institutional reform. Now, let's discuss the book Political Theology. Here, Newman critiques sovereign state power by focusing on the theological dimension of politics. In a word,
What is the
Newman
theological
here is saying
dimension of
that
politics?
secularization of state mechanisms can actually generate a desire for a return to the pre-modern power of sovereignty. Consider this. We're now dealing with a resurgence of authoritarian, nationalist, anti-immigrant populism. These movements are responses to the liberal values of openness, toleration, and human rights. Essentially, national sovereignty is coming back to the center of our political life due to the fact that people are feeling disillusioned with secularized, globalized societies. They want to experience political sovereignty as a spiritual foundation, as a transcendent, omnipotent force. Newman writes, "The renewed desire for a strong state and a unified, homogeneous identity can be seen as symptomatic of an increasingly abstracted and virtual
Renewed desire for a strong state and unified, homogeneous identity can be seen as symptomatic of an increasingly abstracted and virtualized form of existence, where centers of power and sources of authority and legitimacy are more obscure and amorphous." I don't agree with that. So, I'm going to say more so that drive comes from a lot of what we see when it comes down to like people wanting nostalgia. They want things to be like it was when they were growing up or when they thought things were better. But in reality, we as people don't really look at things as they were. We consider things were better in the past while not really looking at the bad parts of the past that we had. So we get nostalgic about it and we think everything is worse. And, you know, if we just went back to this thing, there would be more order, there would be less chaos. And then we move back to it and we find that it was far worse and we end up losing so much more in the process of it. So it just seems like explaining away in an odd fashion conservatism.
virtualized form of existence. where centers of power and sources of authority and legitimacy are more obscure and amorphous. Here, Newman
Obscure and
discusses
amorphous, that
Nazi
it just
journalist,
seems like he's
political
using weird
theorist
words.
Carl Schmitt, who claimed that meaningful sovereignty can appear only during the state of exception. That is to say, Schmitt thought that liberal preoccupation with the normal rule of law undermines the power and the significance of sovereignty. More importantly, for Carl Schmitt, sovereignty is always imbued with religious significance. In
Yeah, that's what I'm
reaction to
vibing
the
on this,
modern
Kyle.
secularization of the state, Schmitt saw the sovereign as analogous with God, as the supreme lawgiver. We can consider the sovereign as a kind of a savior of the people in times of political secularization and nihilism.
Okay, so
The
this is
sovereign
going to modify
demands
this. Let's see.
absolute obedience.
Let's move over to this. See what we get.
Well, the point is that I don't think today resistance to power, resistance to state power, resistance to capitalism can really be expressed within the sort of the revolutionary paradigm which characterized not only classical anarchism but also classical Marxism and so on, in which the forces of society were pitted against state power, where state power was visible and identifiable, and it was just simply a matter of demolishing this kind of political structure, which was seen as oppressive and dominating and exploitative and so on. I think one of the problems is that power today is much more complex, much more decentralized. I mean, where does one actually locate power today? And therefore, how does one have a clearly identifiable revolutionary target which is easy to topple or demolish or destroy? I think it's much harder. I think power is much more dispersed. It's obviously much more globalized. It's much more networked. So therefore, it seems to me that the whole notion of resistance to power has to be rethought. It has to be seen, I think, in terms of more localized struggles for autonomy or around particular issues, rather than sort of a totalizing revolution with a capital R. So yes, I mean,
definitely with a
certainly
capital R.
points to the way in which resistance to power is much more complicated today. This is something which radicals and revolutionaries and those who resist have to contend with.
Is this old or new? I have to wonder. This is 1 day ago. Okay, I have to see this.
Oh my God. Hi.
I'll go back to it later. We'll finish this up.
Obedience from the people, and in return, he offers them a concrete spiritual foundation. We're all just basically looking for a pep talk from a powerful figure. As a post-anarchist, Newman obviously disagrees with Schmitt's overarching argument, but he thinks that Schmitt's analysis is very valuable when we undertake to understand the contemporary relationship between politics and religion. Newman writes, Schmitt is right in pointing
all I'm
to the
hearing is people
structural
want to be
recurrence
told what to
of the
do.
problematic of sovereignty, which is revealed every time a social order undergoes a crisis of legitimation, as the liberal order is currently experiencing. That is to say, the growing popularity of authoritarian nationalist political forces today shows that the question of sovereignty is still central to politics. In Newman's opinion, we need to be aware of the importance of sovereignty as an imaginary point of reference that fixes meanings and gives coherence and unity to chaotic, atheistic, globalized society. Bakunin, Bakunin, Bakunin. Bakunin, Bakunin, Bakunin. When analyzing sovereignty, Newman turns to classical anarchists, who, as he claims, often make the best diagnosticians of the problem of political theology. For example, Bakunin's approach to political theology could be seen as antithetical to Schmitt's, in that Bakunin critiques all idealists who abstract moral principles from the materiality of life, suspending them above the living forces of
It absolutely
society.
does, Moon.
Bakunin thinks that the
It's
state
definitely not
stands
one size
above the
fits all throughout
society
all of
the
time.
same way that God stands above
But they're going to
the
be
world
people
and
that don't
nature.
recognize
Newman,
that.
in fact, argues that Schmitt's exaltation of sovereignty is a response to the threat from someone like Bakunin, who is pushing satanic atheistic, materialist, revolutionary
Satanic.
politics. Newman writes, if there is a relationship of enmity at work in Schmidt's political theology, Bakunin and the anti-political theological gesture of revolutionary anarchism emerge as the real enemy. Then, Newman discusses German philosopher Max Stirner, who was, like Bakunin, extremely hostile to state authority. Stirner's approach, however, is different from Bakunin's because, like Schmidt, Stirner critiques the atheist humanist discourses of revolutionary politics. In other words, Stirner shows that secular modernity is itself haunted by quasi-theological fanaticism. However, Stirner's approach to secularism is still diametrically opposed to Schmidt's. Whereas Schmidt wants state sovereignty to save the society from the collapse of religious authority, Stirner wants to get rid of all transcendence once and for all. He wants to be done with it. In other words, whereas Schmidt thought that liberal secularism was too nihilistic, Stirner thought that liberal secularism was not nihilistic enough. Newman writes, Stirner's contribution to the political theological debate.
Of course, Joe, it's always
arguing
satanic. It's
in
always
freeing our
atheists that are the
subjectivity from
problem.
The fixed forms of
Couldn't
identification
possibly be them.
determined by religious idealism, and in showing how we might live in the world rather than in the next. In other words, Stirner shows that even modern secular humanism was simply a reinvention of Christianity, which made the figure of man the new God. Then, Newman takes up psychoanalysis to analyze the psychic dimension of political theology.
Psychic
Newman here quotes
dimension.
Lacan, who said that the true formula of atheism is not God is dead, the true formula for atheism is God is unconscious. This means that secularism did not get rid of God. It merely repressed and internalized the divine power. Here we can again follow Stirner, who said that secularism is itself haunted by the categories of theological thought. As Newman writes, modern atheists, in their cynical reason, may be the most devout believers.
What?
In this book, Newman presents anarchism
Joe,
as a
what are you
counterpoint
babbling
to
about?
Schmidt's exaltation of sovereignty. At the same time, Newman shows that anarchist secularism itself can quickly become quite dogmatic. Newman therefore asks anarchists to be careful not to reaffirm what they oppose.
So I got into an argument earlier with a friend Y does, and we were going on about, well, it was in regards to Wick's, should we celebrate when certain people die? And I was like, hey, I got my one. And my one that I always said I was going to celebrate when he kicks off was going to be Henry Kissinger, who is now gone. And I had a party, open bar, the whole deal. We had a blast. But the dude was literally a demon on this earth, like multiple genocides under his belt, the dissolution of countries, the whole deal. Like, screw Kissinger. I will not lament him being gone, stealing air from the rest of us. His beef was with Noam Chomsky. And I'm like, okay, so if you could launch a parachute to save one person as a plane's going down, would it be Noam Chomsky or would it be Henry Kissinger? And he's like, Kissinger, every day, all day. I'm like, but Kissinger actually did horrible things, whereas Noam Chomsky just talked. Like, what seems to be the problem here? There are worse people on this planet in some instances than even Hitler, even though Hitler was horrible. Pol Pot was freaking terrible. Like, all these people are terrible. We just don't talk about it as often. So the idea that religion is going to fix this, no, religion is not going to fix it. Religion has been the root and also a byproduct of a lot of this. We can move forward without it. Stalin could have been worse. I don't know that Stalin was worse. I don't think Stalin was directly doing the same kind of things that Hitler was doing, but I will say, bad news. But Kissinger, in my opinion, was way worse than Noam Chomsky.
Anarchists have to move away from stubborn, dogmatic fights against the sovereign state. For Newman, revolution...
It's not just the numbers, it's also the how. Like, Was it direct death, or was it death through neglect, or death through bad decision making? So you can screw up and a bunch of people can kick off. But if you're directly offing people, rounding people up, testing on people, like the things that were done in the process of that. So you're saying Stalin had more direct death numbers. Okay, I'll double check
Revolution
this.
against state power needs to be rethought. He thinks that it may not be very productive for today's anarchists to seek for an apocalyptic revolutionary event that would destroy all political transcendence. Instead of focusing on the destruction of state order, it may be more productive, says Newman, to build new kinds of social organizations that would give people a greater degree of autonomy from state power.
Yeah, it sounds like Stalin was doing exactly what we're doing right now, which Stalin was deporting people into the wilderness to die, not really caring which those people could have survived, versus like directly torturing and killing people. Like, I'm still going to say what Hitler was doing was worse.
Important point that Newman is making here is that religious transcendence in politics can come back as a response to materialist secularization. We therefore need to continue having this discussion about the relationship between religion and the state. We need to face the fact that theology still plays a huge role in contemporary politics. After all, secularization of state is only a temporary repression of transcendence and sovereignty. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
Yeah, so right here,
This video is sponsored.
let's pull this up real quick. And we're just doing the quick AI overview. We're looking at, so we got the 6 million number, then we got 3.3 million Soviet prisoners of war, 1.8 million non-Jewish Poland civilians, 250,000 to 500,000 Romani people. So he killed a ridiculous amount of people, placed between over 15 and 30 million people. So then we run this back to Stalin. As high as 20 million, including deaths from famine. So that's including people that could have died from famine. Stalin still was putting up rookie numbers compared to what Mustache Man was doing. Like, just on record. I understand he caused the famine, and I don't think he did so necessarily on purpose. I mean, they put Stalin at 20 million and they put Hitler at 30 million. So I'm going to say 10 million more is a bit crazy.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the patron saint of music. Yes, that's who it is. I want to take some time to talk about a recent and surprising news item to come out of the music world this past week, and hopefully use it to engage in a broader and necessary conversation around optics, public perception, and forgiveness. And of course, who this centers around is none other than Kanye frickin' West, or Ye. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you know that for the past year plus, Ye has been doing just about every possible thing that he can to burn any bridge of goodwill that he might have.
I unfortunately didn't get to watch the Wick thing. My sister called me and I was too busy listening to that. If you want to pop in and fill me in, I'll give my opinion. Oh, there you go. I'll pull you in, Fister. What's going on, dude? You're in here. Just got to unmute. There he is.
So, what side were you on the whole celebrating of a death thing?
I mean, I pretty much gave my take. Like, there's certain people we're going to openly be happy when they're gone because they cause so much pain and suffering to people that it's just rational that we're going to be happy about it. Now,
And
what
do
was
you
Wick
think that
saying?
that makes you more likely to just be that way? Because it seemed like he was kind of conflating the whole idea of the manipulation that demagogues do to spread hate with you correctly disliking a very heinous person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, like I don't know what Soy Pill's take was. The way they were pointing it out in the chat, it seemed like they were saying he's just like, oh, we did this thing, which was freaking crazy. Why is everybody so upset about it? And that didn't seem like what was actually going on.
Because the Wick's whole take that what is it? Is it hate breeds or violence breeds more violence or something like that?
I mean, celebrating somebody dying isn't violence.
But it breeds, what was his term? It was some obnoxiously incorrect term. Do you remember what it was, Kyle?
Wick
I
is
don't know.
Alina's
It
about to
was just
shit.
it was just an absurd take that just because like there's one heinous person and that you celebrate that person's death, that you are more likely to like thrill out of other people's deaths, right? And then he started linking things um, that, like after 9/11 and politics using politicians using like the 9/11 to direct people to dislike the Muslims, right?
Okay.
And it's like that's not really linked, right? Like just because you're glad like Hitler died doesn't make you more likely to hate Muslims. That's a completely separate instance where, you know, politicians utilize that strong feeling to amplify it into a hatred to get votes, right?
I mean, I can't disacknowledge that there are going to be people that don't think that the person that is gone and we're happy that they're gone see that this person was as problematic as we thought they were. So they're going to take it like, oh, these people are just heartless when they're disacknowledging the amount of harm this individual has caused. I'm sure there were people that were sad when Mustache Man went away. Should we care how they feel?
Well, I mean, but my point is, I'm trying to just arguing against Wick's point because Wick's trying to say that like celebrating one person's death or even two, like two, three, four, even like 50 heinous people's deaths who have done a bunch of heinous things will lead you to be more easily dehumanize other people, to hate other people. And I thought that was just absolutely absurd.
Yeah, I patently don't agree with this, but I mean, I see where he's coming from. It's a slippery slope fallacy that this is going to compound into something worse where people just are desensitized to horrible things, where in reality, you should just be able to acknowledge this person was horrible and I'm happy they can't continue to do horrible things.
Well,
I don't see
I
where
think
that's problematic.
he kind of see because we kind of have a general idea in society that a death is horrible, right? And I think he kind of sees it as people losing that thought, which usually happens when someone's dehumanized or, you know. Um, but I don't know, I think he's using a lot of things that aren't connected to try to prove his point that weren't connected whatsoever. But anyway, that's all I had, unless you have anything else from it.
No, I wish I had gotten to watch it because I wanted to see what the points were, and I didn't really know which direction Soy Pill was going at with it. So I was very interested, but I was gonna watch it later.
Well, so he basically said that like for like say Charlie Kirk, right? He doesn't really He can understand some people's opinions about it. Obviously, I hate manipulators, so I'm more strongly on the anti-Kirk side, where other people see him as like a minor agent, so they don't. He doesn't really understand as much, though he can see it, like the argument.
Right.
But like people like Hitler, he's like perfectly fine with celebrating him, right? And didn't really like think that it means anything else because the next person that you see that you like or just like who dies, it doesn't mean or like you give the opportunity, but like where you're thinking about whether this person should live or die, that doesn't affect it because it's a different person, right? It's not the same person.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's all I had. Unless you have anything else.
No, that's all I can really say on it. I wish I'd watched it, so I'd probably have more to say in that instance. But I mean, that's my take on it, and I think Wick is being overly sensitive to something that
I think
has a lot more
ideological was the best
nuance.
word. Like I think he was very ideological in it, where like this is the right way to be, and even like no matter what. So like even this, it's bad automatically that you celebrate a Hitler's death because you can hate the fact that you have, that Hitler had to die, and then celebrate that he did die because he ended up being a horrible person.
I mean, all in all, he probably would have been executed if he didn't take himself out or be in prison
Yeah,
until he died. So
yeah, most likely executed, but
just
anyway,
saying.
I'll let you get on with whatever you're watching.
Cool, cool. Well, thanks for the words. And Joe, atheism only informs one thing: whether or not you believe in a deity or don't believe in a deity. That's all it is. There's no rules, regulations, fanfare. You don't get a t-shirt, nothing. That's all you get. Is their death the best outcome? I mean, it depends. Is the person still actively causing harm? In that case, the person not being there to cause the harm is the best outcome. If your deity is the cosmos, then I don't see where you're gonna have a big issue with that. I mean, you can be a deist and it'll be okay. No, it's not being convinced that there is a God to have absent from you. Like, I'm not convinced. That's all the stance of atheism is. You either are, I believe in theism, or I don't believe in theism. Done deal. That's all it informs.
Have in the whole world ever in all of his personal history, he's made enemies of longtime collaborators.
God is
in
cosmic
media, music, fashion, either that or they have
God can get
very
you pregnant
sensibly
against your
distanced
will.
themselves from him. I mean, this guy was doing everything from dressing in a Ku Klux Klan robe to praising Hitler and calling himself a Nazi. In a lot of ways, all of this behavior was very much a culmination of this weird right-wing rabbit hole Kanye has been falling down ever since he put on the Trump hat years ago. Seemingly, the guy has just been championing more and more crazy right-wing rhetoric ever since he's been receiving feedback from his closest friends and allies and even his broader audience that, hey, maybe doing these things, saying these things, moving in this direction is like not that great of an idea. Which brings me to this recent clip that I've been seeing go viral right now, where Kanye is apologizing for a lot of these recent anti-Semitic statements and behaviors directly across from a rabbi.
I feel really blessed to be able to sit here with you today and just take accountability on this appeal with
Exactly, White Dark.
some
Imagine
various
you wake up and your significant other's like, yo, I'm pregnant.
Bipolar also.
Are you going to believe God did
pretty
it?
short. The statement is pretty direct, and it's got me thinking and wondering where exactly do we go from here, especially since as of late I have been getting a lot of like questions and responses about like, what exactly am I expecting of Kanye in terms of like getting to a place where I feel like his music and his platform is worth engaging with again in a way that is, not so much outside view and critical like I'm doing now. Obviously, right now at this moment, I'm not reviewing the man's music or anything. I'm just commenting on his behavior and commenting on the fact that he put out this video for the world to
He's
see,
gonna
hoping that
rate
we
it.
all had a certain sort of takeaway from it. Obviously, that he's sorry, which makes me feel like it's important to have maybe a conversation in context of the music industry about redemption and cancellation and sort of like fixing your public image, as it were. Because I think there is a perception from a lot of people that once an artist or a person is canceled, either in my eyes or in the music industry broadly, there's like no coming back from that. I would say personally, from my own perspective, that is in fact not true. I do believe in the power and significance of apologies and growing and changing. And these are tenets, unfortunately, I feel like are not valued very highly in our current social media age. But often I found the most loud and hardcore fans of any given fan base are willing to like overlook and forgive and downplay almost anything sometimes, just so they're guaranteed to continue having access to whatever the favorite thing it is they like. They don't want to see it go away, and I think they fear that apologizing or acknowledging fault is somehow going to ruin everything, and that the thing they love, the person they love, will go away forever. Which not only am I here to say, like, most likely is that not true, but also if the thing that you love so much would actually be hypothetically destroyed forever by nothing more
If
than
only
an
Kanye would go
apology,
away.
how great or significant of a thing is that thing to begin with? Which is why I would like to come on here and say this video from Kanye and apologies in general, while sure, what's going on here visually is a bit performative, because it's not simply just Kanye apologizing, but him apologizing across from another person, someone who has been directly harmed by his words and actions and the hate that he is.
So this goes into what we were just talking about, people that are directly harmed. And if you've been directly harmed and the person is continuing to commit harm, you're going to want them to be in a position where they're not able to continue to commit harm. And so in the case of Kanye, it was him being deplatformed, his music getting boycotted, him being debanked, a whole bunch of different reasons. You don't want to allow this person to perpetuate that harm. I'm not going to say they want him to not be alive anymore, but at the same time, if he weren't, they probably wouldn't be crying about it.
Is leveled at his community, while I'm
actually, let's run that back ever so slightly. Court doc says group involved in Maryland grocery store assault of Jewish man shouted, "Do it for Kanye." NYPD searching for a man who said Kanye 2024 during anti-Semitic attack in Central Park. So like his hatred resonated to so many people.
Hate that he is leveled at his community. While I'm sure that was difficult to engage in on some level, simultaneously there is a massive benefit to kind of delivering it to the world in this way, because if this man sitting across from Kanye can accept him for his faults and accept his apology, then why can't you? Which personally, I wouldn't be so quick to embrace that logic in this situation, but only due to the gravity of the situation that we are talking about here. Because again, Kanye's behavior over the last year plus isn't just like any old run-of-the-mill cancellation. You're talking about a guy who spent month after month after month spewing psychotic hatred, and sometimes interspersed in the midst of all of that frenzy, you actually did have the rare apology or two, only for Kanye to like literally go back to regularly scheduled hateful programming and somehow get worse. And as significant as it was for Kanye to essentially direct his words here at the Jewish community in a sense with this apology, it's important to note that like his embrace of fascism doesn't merely just hurt the Jewish community. Like fascism historically destroys, kills, and persecutes racial and religious minorities of all types and stripes, the queer community at large too, women, and any and all political opponents. In my opinion, Kanye West owes all of these people an apology, a direct one, frankly, not one that is sent in the direction of a third party that people are supposed to project themselves onto. Kanye also owes his fans an apology, because which ones are left and actually date further back than all this recent bullshit he's been engrossed in, they deserve far better than what they've been getting in terms of treatment and respect and acknowledgement. engagement. Kanye owes Virgil and his whole camp an apology too. Let's not also forget the fact that since all of this transpired, this man was also hit with numerous sexual assault allegations. And look, the list goes on. The point of this video isn't to come
Kanye
on
was
here
being a
and like
menace.
shit on Kanye's apology and say that it's basically meaningless and worthless, because it's not. It's most definitely a start if it is in fact sincere. But the issue is we are talking about a man over here who has a history of doing some kind of semblance of an apology performance and then doing a 180 almost immediately after. The oncoming 180 from this may be occurring as we speak when you're watching this video. I don't know. Maybe it's already occurred. They've been known to happen that quickly in the past. However,
Before
it is still my
recording, he's
hope,
back on his bullshit.
fingers are crossed, that it actually is going to stick this time, and that Ye will actually try to do better and just not continue embracing and platforming just these heinous modes of thought. Because honestly, if there's one thing to know about fascism and authoritarianism, it doesn't just magically happen one day because everyone collectively decides to snap and go crazy all at once, and every single person living under a regime decides to become the worst person
No,
ever.
no.
Like
Ex-Visser,
that.
he's
No,
just a
it
symptom.
happens when there are enough individuals
He's
who
not
are
the
willing
cause.
to look away and ignore the extreme and scary behaviors of what few bigoted, hateful freaks there are, and essentially excuse what they're doing as just not really being that big of a deal. Yes,
Fantano's a
fascism
plant.
does happen through force, but simultaneously, it's also a permission structure given by those who feel like, it doesn't affect me, so why fight it? Why go against it? Or, hey, maybe I can even embrace it to my benefit. Not only should it be unacceptable for somebody of Kanye's stature and platform to have done that, but in order to make amends for this, he has to actually come out and very soundly reject this ideology, this mode of thinking, and make sure that these types of people that might align with those views, have no space in his audience. Look, I'll round out this video by saying, when it comes to heinous behavior, statements, actions like this, if there is going to be a bounce back, a comeback, an apology of some sort, it needs to match the gravity of what initially brought us to this place to begin with. And in my view,
Entirely
one
possible.
single video like what we just saw earlier cannot undo the months of insanity, frankly, that Kanye has subjected us all to. So, like, I don't know, again, I think this video is a good start, but I hope Kanye has a genuine sense of, like, how long the uphill climb is going to be here in terms of, like, doing better and repairing things. Because, again, he truly did go off the deep end with all of this, and I think he is going to have to seriously meet the moment if he is genuine about, like, you know, coming back into most people's good graces and just doing better. And look, you know, I'm totally open to, and I understand the fact that a lot of this, like, comes down to Kanye's bipolar disorder, and the fact that, you know, maybe a lot of what he says and does and engages in, maybe it's not that deep, maybe he doesn't mean it that much because of these
Oh, no,
issues
Zephyr,
that
don't
he's had
say that.
mentally. But the fact still remains, he is responsible for
He won't
how
be
he
old enough.
decides to handle and take care of himself as somebody.
Wait, how old
with
do you have
the
to be vice
resources that he
president?
has and the power that he has with bipolar disorder. He is ultimately the decision maker in terms of who he listens to, who he goes to for help with this, who he allows to put him back in a place where he's saying, hey, maybe I'm not just going to have completely, like, unadulterated access to my phone when I'm in a manic state and just deciding to think or say or do any random thing that pops into my head. And look, for years, we've seen his loved ones, his closest collaborators and associates, his ex-wife, and many others try to intervene or involve themselves in these situations to downplay what he's
Either way,
saying,
he's
to
an
save
op.
him from himself, to try and take him out of this place. And even when he has been in moments of lucidity, he has rejected this aid and this help. And if we are actually going to see any progress here, I think he's going to need to start accepting that he may not be able to do this completely on his own. Look, those are my thoughts on all of this as of right now. What are yours? Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or a link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, yay. apologies.
So you also have to be
forever.
35 to be vice president. Okay. Fair enough. All right, now on to back to our regularly scheduled religious nonsense
Do you
and
think
why
I
I
could
can't
then sit
stand
here and
Dr.
say
K.
what your experience is not true? And I
Absolutely.
yeah.
Of course.
And I could pick it apart and stuff like that.
Absolutely. So this is the thing that I
Is there
think
any value in that?
From what?
For me doing that to you?
Of course there's value. For you, if you want to pick me apart, if you want to continue to live the life that you live, if you want to continue to get 5 out of 10 meaning because you've accomplished a lot,
So he's saying if you choose not to pick me apart or scrutinize what I'm saying, you won't get full meaning out of anything. Defense mechanism.
you have a lot of stuff. I mean, so many videos that you have left, so many people that you help, millions of people across the globe.
I say this because that's what's happening here.
What?
That Alex is picking apart.
Fine. So I have no problem with picking things apart. If you want to pick things apart, but be very clear about what picking things apart does.
What does it do?
So it's a great question. I have a different way of answering it.
Oh, you mother.
So when I listen to philosophers, like these guys were just in it about evil, and if evil was created when Eve ate the apple, was she evil when she made the apple, right? It's so great. It's picking things apart. So it's so interesting because as a psychiatrist, my training is actually the exact opposite. What I've trained myself to do is to twist and turn in mental gymnastics to understand somebody else's view. When a patient walks into my office and they say, I'm suicidal, I don't want to pick their view apart. No, you have so much to live for, it doesn't work. I try to understand them. So there is value to picking things apart in terms of political debate, in terms of you're arguing with your wife whether you should buy a car or lease a car. There are all kinds of values to picking things apart. But the question is, what do you want? Now, I think if you take Alex's road, which I think is going to change real quick if it hasn't.
Why?
Yeah, why?
Be honest.
I think he's going to go down the road of gnosis if he isn't already.
Gnosis. What is gnosis?
Knowledge.
Alex?
Gnosis is a Greek term. Gnosis means knowledge, but it's attached to, I guess, a kind of an ancient school of philosophy which believes that truth is obtained from looking inward.
Do you mean narcissism?
No, not narcissism. So I think if you want to.
So to assume that Alex is going to go down the path of gnosis, which is usually more esoteric Christian ideas that came, I believe, in the time of Greece, who's to say he hadn't already done it? I think by the time I deconstructed, I already gone through gnosis and all the, side tangents of religion to get to where I am now. A whole lot of deprogramming. So like to act like he doesn't already understand Gnostic text is dismissive on its own, and he can't give any reason as to why he feels he's going to go down the path of gnosis. I mean, I'll remember, Joe. I'll write it down. I'll take a picture. I will not forget.
Alex, it's not a philosophy, it's a practice.
But what do you mean when you say, I mean, Stephen asked, you said, I'm going to go down
Gnosis is definitely not.
Yeah, I think you got to walk down the Gnostic road, dude.
Would you tell us
what
what
is that?
you
Tell me what I have to
you
do.
thought I was going to do that. What does it mean?
That I think you're going to do that? Or the path of
What
Gnosis?
is the thing that you think I'm going to?
Yeah, I think you're going to have to start practicing Gnostic stuff.
What's the Gnostic
What
stuff?
does that mean?
So Thunder Perfect Mind is a series of meditations.
Mhm.
If you look at that and you do what it tells you to do, you will understand what the Gnostics understood. You have to walk that path that they walked. But doing so does not involve the philosophy of Gnosis, right? That the part of Gnosis, I don't know what the philosophy, I mean, I get what you're saying from a philosophical perspective, but the Gnostics were practitioners as far as I understand. I read one Gnostic text and I was like, oh,
I
this
read
is like
one. I
this
know
is like a
everybody
meditation.
is going to
So
go
what
into
is it that makes you
gnosis.
think? Why do you look at me and say that's? I mean, you've read one Gnostic text.
I
you've known me
I
for
have an
hour.
intuition.
So, but I wonder what you mean.
It's not explainable.
But you have an intuition.
Yeah.
Based
Oh,
on
yeah.
pattern recognition.
Sure.
That an individual like Alex.
I don't know. No, not pattern recognition. This is indefensible.
Okay.
At least he admits it's indefensible.
A lot by a lot of different people that I'm quite clearly on a particular road. Christians very often say that it seems as though I'm on the verge of Christian conversion. And I think that's often just a result of having nice conversations with them where I don't jump down their throat and say, actually, there's some truth in this, or actually there are some good arguments for the resurrection of Jesus, or this kind of stuff. And suddenly I have people saying, he's so close.
Is that
which I
because
find
he's
kind of annoying
clearly a
and-
man searching for meaning?
Something about
You
the
haven't told
way
us what gnosis is. You said it's a series of practices, but what? So is vegetarianism. So like.
So I think gnosis, no, from what reading one text, I'm not a Gnostic expert.
Okay.
So there's a set of practices that if
But
you
you know
do
who's
them,
gonna
have a
subscribe.
high probabilistic chance of having a direct experience of God.
Like what?
So Om chanting is a simple example.
Right.
But there are things that you can do to increase the likelihood of
I don't
having a
know Grand
transcendent
Designs.
experience of
I
Om
don't know what his goal is.
So, for
Just-
example, if you adopt Siddhasan,
He's making
so
claims.
Siddhasan is a particular yoga posture where your left heel is placed against the perineum of your body.
Right
so
in
the
the
perineum
gooch.
is the taint, the area between the anus and the scrotum. So if you also do certain pranayama practices, so these will do things that induce a very, very, very low respiratory rate. And one of the things that we know about transcendental experiences is that high levels of CO2 tend to actually, we don't know this, but this is kind of the best hypothesis that I've
Exactly,
read, that
Mo.
I happen to think is true, that if we alter the neurons of our brain chemistry,
Have you
we can
considered putting your
evoke
heels into your tank?
transcendental experiences. So if you look at some of these esoteric traditions, what'll happen is you have all of these different practices, and as you do these practices, I think you are very clearly refining your physiology and your neurology to induce certain states. And let's remember that psychedelics don't create anything.
Yes.
Psychedelics simply activate the circuitry that is already there.
Or
in
deactivate.
Huh?
Or deactivate.
Or deactivate, right?
But yeah,
So-
that's a crucial point to make.
I'd love to understand why you think he's going to go down that path.
Let's call it intuition.
But I need something a little bit more than that. So you're saying
Okay, so I'll give you more. So, in the system of can I answer truthfully or defensively?
Truthfully, please,
Which ones
fuck's
do you guys
No,
want?
lie to us,
Okay.
please, Dr.
So
K.
in the system of Kundalini Yoga, there are 7 chakras. So 21 years ago, almost 22, I went to a teacher who taught me the first of a Kundalini practice, which is based on the Agnya chakra. So the Agnya chakra is your third eye chakra and it is the chakra that governs understanding. So if you want to understand things, then
You gotta
Agnya chakra
overstand.
practices are the right thing to do. So many years ago, back in a former life when I was still an academic at Harvard, I was trying to develop an evidence-based meditation program for different diagnoses.
And did you manage to
part
do
of
it?
what I leaned into, and initial results were good, but never really, then I started doing this. But so as one example, there's this chakra called the Muladhara chakra, which is our root chakra. So the Muladhara chakra governs our primal impulses in life. So I looked at my patients with addictions and I was like, okay, these people have a problem with impulse control and they want something and they can't restrain themselves from getting it. So I wondered, can I teach them Muladhara chakra practices?
that can't be
to
genetic
sort of
or
basically
psychological in any way.
reduce their flow of wanting the basic things. And I found that that was efficacious. Now, meditation works for addictions. But the question is, can we do a specific meditation for a specific mental illness? So there's one study, for example, that looks at anahat or heart chakra meditation specifically for depression because it cultivates like compassion and self-love and stuff like that. And they found, it's a very small study, hopefully we'll do more research in this, but they found that the effect was superior to other forms of meditation.
I want to know that
So
answer too. Mo.
hypothetically, theoretically, there are specific meditation practices which work in different ways. And I teach a lot of this stuff in Dr. K's Guided Meditation and stuff. But so there are these
Get the
specific
fuck outta
practices.
here,
So I
Joe.
specifically did a practice based on Agnya chakra stuff, like intuition, right? So then like something weird happens, which is when I sit with people,
Something weird
I have
happens.
intuitions about them. Now, is this real? Is this fake? Is it
Translation, I
delusional?
make up bullshit
don't
in
know.
my head.
You could argue that I'm just a really good psychiatrist with really good cold reading, right? But this is I don't. So if you want to know the real answer, like I'm not a great psychiatrist. People think I'm so brilliant as I'm not. I'm cheating.
Exactly
I'm
that,
using
Kyle.
a
Source, my
layer of
book is now
information
available
that
on
I don't think
Amazon.
most people
We'll
have
figure it
access to.
out.
which I know is a completely undefensible claim, except if you do Agna Chakra practices too, you will see what I'm talking about.
If you do this thing that's in my book, so on to something much nerdier, but still along the same lines.
This video is brought to you by the current discounts available at Good.Store, a store that sells really good stuff and gives all of the profit to charity. Just going over to Google, I'm going to type in Jesus and I'm going to click I'm feeling lucky because that's a thing that they still do. Here we are at Jesus. I mean, while we're here, let's give a little money to Wikipedia. It's better than Google now, and it has the budget of roughly 1% of Google's legal department. Jesus. Also referred to as Jesus Christ, Jesus of Nazareth, and many other names and titles. That's got a link to Jesus. We've got Yahweh. Emmanuel, that's totally different. Master, Logos. Son of God, Son of Man, Son of David, Son of Joseph. This guy's got a lot of dads. Sorry, that was
You danced around those
That's not what
labels,
this video is about. I
lasers
see
too,
pictures of
Joe.
Jesus. We all see pictures of Jesus. There's baby Jesus.
The
Look,
mark
he
of
looks
a true
like baby. When
grifter.
Jesus was born, he was naked, probably pretty bald, and he was baby-shaped. But if we check out, one thing all of these Jesuses are going to have in common is that this guy has got long hair and a beard. He's got long hair and a beard. He was in good shape, Jesus. This guy's got long hair and a beard. He's got long hair and a beard. Long hair and a beard. He's got long hair and a beard. This is what happens to me. I get overly curious about things and I type in, why did Jesus have long hair? And then I don't look at the AI overview. I'd use it if it was working. Give me a Wikipedia page, please. We've got true Christian, did Jesus have long hair? We can speculate, but ultimately we don't know. I'm aware. They didn't have cameras back then. No, Jesus did not have long hair. Paul said that it was a dishonor for a man to have long hair. We've got early disagreement in the Reddit thread, and also this has 20 upvotes. So like this didn't reach people who know what's going on. I'm going to immediately disregard this and move down to our second link, Stack Exchange. Oh, Christianity Stack Exchange.
I'm
I didn't
unaware,
know that was
Joe.
a thing.
Who is the
Also,
atheist
only
that
10
visits all
upvotes,
different
though. Why aren't people
religions?
curious about this man's hairstyle? It's a big part of Jesus. This is the Jesus
Yeah,
that
Yeshua
I
ben
feel like
Joseph.
I saw a lot. This man has blue eyes. He's got blue eyes. There's this, a rugged Jesus. He looks older than 33, but okay. This Jesus, seen him around. Another long hair and a beard. This Jesus, a very different long hair and a beard vibe. So like some of these Jesus I'm getting very like a safe guy that I'd feel okay to be around. Like I trust him with my drink. This Jesus though, I mean, I'm not saying I
trust
don't
him with
trust this
my
Jesus
drink.
with my drink, but he's like a strong Jesus. Like a 70s construction worker. We've got AI Jesus here. Stunning Jesus Christ picture printable wall art. Ay. St. Paul says hair is long and unnatural for men. Why do our portraits of Jesus show him with it? The pictures of Jesus we have do not derive from any physical description we have of him in the Bible because there is none. There's no physical description of Jesus in the Bible. Basic image comes from a long artistic and iconographic tradition influenced, among other things, by the Shroud of Turin. But that isn't Jesus. That has to be the other way. When was the Shroud of Turin from? So we've got this Jesus shroud and he's got long hair and a beard. When was the Shroud of Turin discovered? Oh, 1354. Okay, maybe that was part of it. I don't know why I thought this was relatively new. Maybe this is why Jesus has long hair and a beard. Is it that easy? Does Jesus have long hair because of the Shroud of Turin? A common objection. Ooh, all right, this person has a blog. This is what the internet used to be. Weird
Another
stuff
fail,
from a
jeez.
person who says
Russell
stuff.
Brand
A
Jesus.
common objection to the Shroud
Exactly.
of Turin is that the hair on the main shroud is too long to be Jesus's hair. No, that's the opposite of what I want to know. All right, so we've got like one piece of information already that people back then didn't have long hair, or men didn't. So I could type in like, did men have long hair in biblical times? Is it wrong for men to have long hair? What is that? Do people in biblical times have long hair or long beards? This is Quora. Quora has become really difficult
Shouldn't
to use
trust
as
Jared
well, by
Leto.
the
We'll
way.
send you
Like, I'm
weird
not sure
shit.
which. So this is like promoted by Savings Pro. Why is Jesus usually depicted with long hair? This reminds me of that game where you have to put different
The
shapes
Jared
into
Leto
matching
cult. I
holes.
forgot
What
about that.
is
I should have done
happening?
something
Why
on
is the
that.
internet so hard now? Things used to be possible. This has 6 upvotes. I think there are at least 2 possibilities. One, artistic depictions of Christ are just simply wrong. Possibility Christ might have been a Nazarite. This involved a vow which could be lifelong or temporary to abstain. He was from Nazareth, but I think that's different from being a Nazarite. My wife beats me? Why am I being advertised a shirt that says my wife beats me? Hang in there. It gets worse. Earliest depiction of Jesus. He has long hair and a beard. This it? Depictions of Jesus? A mural. One of the first bearded images of Jesus from the late 4th century. That's before the Shroud of Turin. Why did it tell me that the Shroud of Turin was part of this? Why hasn't anyone have what I think is a very interesting question and have just answered it for me? This is very frustrating. This is the page that I want, though. Most images of Jesus have common number of traits, almost universally associated with Jesus, although variants are seen. Bearded Jesus, long hair, emerged around 300 AD, but did not become established until the 6th century. Early Christianity, this is 3rd century. Is that Jesus? That guy does not have long hair and a beard. Which one of these people is? No, that's Jesus. This is Jesus. He's a baby. He just looks like a baby. That's not helpful.
That's a
Babies
bald
don't have long
Jesus.
hair. Usually, though sometimes. The healing of the paralytic, one of the first images of Jesus. That man, is that him?
That's
Who is
curly
it? Which
hair.
of
There
you
we
is
go.
Jesus? None of
Jesus
you have
is
long
working
hair.
on his
So the
fro.
first images we have of Jesus don't have long hair, and now I know that there just wasn't a lot of pictures of Jesus. He's got long hair and a beard. The earliest one he doesn't, but then suddenly he does, and apparently nobody has any idea why. Once the bearded long-haired Jesus became the conventional representation, his facial features slowly began to be standardized. This is wild. So we have no idea what this guy looked like, but just through art, people
Hey, what's good,
fell into
Ancom?
each other and built a Jesus. They
We're
built a
finding
Jesus
out
from
why
scratch.
Jesus
Why choose
had
a beard, though? Why
long,
was that
semi-straight
picked?
hair.
And why can't I search for this? Trimmed practical beards were standard in Galilee and Judea as well.
Oh, you missed me screaming about the puppet. The puppet said that the Grand Canyon was formed by the Great Flood. You enjoy that.
As many other parts of the Mediterranean, but not long hair. So a way of
Jesus is
making him consistent with the
homosexual.
visualization
What's
of
good,
the
Tessie?
divine in Rome. You know what I realize, having gone down this rabbit hole for way too long, is that like I am me.
I mean,
I
easily.
can message people who might have an answer to this question. Here's what I have written. Hello, Dan. I just started working on a video called Why Does Jesus Have Long Hair? And I thought it would be really cool to potentially transition my naive bumbling around into a conversation with you. Is that something you might be into? It would be on YouTube. But first, this has been a weird video, and I'm excited to share this interview with you because it is awesome. But right now, there's a site-wide sale going on at Good.Store. Everything from our tea and our coffee and our underwear and our socks and our eco-friendly cleaning products, all of that stuff. You don't even need a discount code. You can get 10% off any order over $50, 15% off any order over $75, and 20% off any order over $100. I live in a very dry place. Sunbasin soap is some of the best
hung out
soap
with a
I've
lot
ever
of
used in
dudes.
my life. You might be giving yourself a little
Puppets
bit
were
of something, or you
created
might
by
be
the
doing
Great
some holiday
Floods.
shopping.
I
Either
would have
way,
thought it
all of
was
those discounts
Hiroshima
are
and
available
Nagasaki,
now,
but I'll
and they
leave that
apply
alone.
automatically at checkout, so you don't even need a code. All right, now on to the interview. The internet has failed me in my quest to figure out why Jesus had long hair. I've got some information that it was likely that he had a beard. I've got a bunch of competing theories. One of them, I'd like you to know, is that it
Highly likely
started
he
with
had
the
a
Shroud
beard.
of Turin, which is wild because that was discovered 1,000 years after Jesus started being depicted with a beard. So,
Yeah. It
so that
definitely
one's
didn't
not
start
right.
there. No. And
Yeah.
in fact, a lot of people who would point out the Shroud of Turin, one of the reasons it's likely not real is precisely because it reflects
Dan
a
McClellan,
medieval
nice.
conceptualization of Jesus's appearance, a medieval European conceptualization.
And it was discovered in medieval Europe.
Convenient.
Convenient, as things often are. Do we have any little pieces of Jesus' body anywhere? Or that's probably not a thing.
Probably not a thing.
I mean, I
nor
don't
do
think
we
Joseph
likely have
let him
pieces
do
of
it. He
anything
just
that he
kinda
ever touched.
did it.
Whether a cross or a cloth or the
When
Sudarion
Diddy wants to
is
party,
his
you gotta
famous
tell him
cloth
no.
that it was supposed to have left a sweat imprint from his face, which is
I
related.
never have that happen with cloths. Like sometimes I put cloths on my face and never is my face there when I take it away.
Well, it's all divine, so it
Sure.
works just a little bit differently for
Gotcha.
if you're divine.
First question, did Jesus have long hair?
Probably not. The best we can do is try to determine what the average person in this time and place would have looked like. And the best we can figure is that he probably had about medium length hair that
Probably
probably
looked
would not
Jewish.
have been very well kept and probably would have had about a medium length beard. If he were your average first century CE Galilean Jewish person, that's probably what he would have looked like. That's about the best we can do absent any
Yeah.
actual direct corresponding accounts
Which,
or anything like
you
that.
know, from what I could see, there's not much in the Bible about what Jesus looked like.
No.
And also, they definitely didn't have cameras.
No, nothing like that. No on the spot, portrait artist to have them in a tiny little go-kart. They didn't have any Disneyland style things like that going on.
No
And
caricatures.
no caricatures, unfortunately. Or if they did have them, he didn't feel up to paying for them. And that's kind of the problem is there's no description that is remotely contemporaneous.
Sure.
And so everybody's just kind of got to make him sound like whatever they want him to look like, which is where we start retreating to kind of tropes and classic motifs of what like a wise person or a divine person might look like.
So when I see more like modern or like 1970s,
That's
80s,
brutal.
90s depictions of Jesus, he's got long hair and a beard.
Cane catching,
Jesus
no
has
love.
got like facial features that we seem to have sort of agreed upon over time. But there's also like the vibe changes, and it becomes like there's like a kinder faced Jesus, and then there's like some more stern faced Jesuses. But when I was growing up, there was sort of a very sort of friend looking guy. But you can do that with long hair and a beard. You don't have to do that with long hair and a beard. But I think in a weird way, even up until like my lifetime, the way Jesus is drawn is kind of about the version of Jesus we want to tell people
These
about.
two rooms are so
reflecting
staunchly
the
different.
modern
There's
vibes.
still books,
Like,
but
you gotta-
that one's
this one has
super
to have long hair
cluttered.
and a beard.
Yeah.
But you can like draw him in a
Knickknacks
way
everywhere.
that,
The
like,
other one just
with
detailed
the culture that I am
to
a
draw
part of right
people
now,
in with superhero
gives
iconography.
me an understanding that is
and
like
books,
the
lots
current
of
version
books.
of Jesus that is being taught in the church that I went to.
It's not quite the Buddy Christ
Not quite.
of
Yeah.
dogma fame, but it is a gentle, welcoming
Buddy
Christ.
Christ.
That is the Jesus of the late 20th, early 21st century. And this is just the reality of how we conceptualize deities. We want them to reflect our values and things like that. We are creating them in our own image. And I think the long hair and the beard has just become so embedded within the foundations that to depart from that, you kind of lose the market. And a good example of this is Jehovah's Witnesses. They have tried
Hey.
to represent Jesus in a way that would more accurately reflect first century CE Galilean appearance, where he's got kind of slightly curlier, shorter, bushier hair and then a medium length beard. And it's just not popular. People are not like, that's my Jesus. That's the guy I want to follow, because it doesn't look like what we expect. And what we expect is such a big part of resonating with the representation of someone like Jesus.
So
Would
was
that
Elisha,
sort of,
Joe.
like, push those
And that's
people
why
who
he
are,
sent bears
trying
after
to
people.
get people to pay attention to their ideas about Jesus, would it push them to change that conception, or have they sort of like solidified on that as a important part of their faith?
When you look at the representation of Jesus throughout time, and particularly in the last 500 years or so, you frequently see representations of Jesus where it's much closer to the ethnic appearance of the artist. You have Asian looking Jesuses, you have African looking Jesuses, because the artists and the
Oh,
communities
no, African
look
looking
like
Jesus.
that type of Jesus. And ever since the medieval period in Europe, we've had European Jesus, which now turns into blonde hair, blue eyed Jesus.
Yeah, blue-eyed Jesus. I saw some of those.
Yeah, and we have these accounts, these fake letters about Pilate, where he like sends a letter to Tiberius and he's like, and I saw Jesus and he had hazelnut colored hair and then light skin, and the idea is to contrast him against the swarthy
don't
skin
start
of all
that,
the other
Kyle.
Jewish people
We
around
don't need
him. So there's a very
Mongolian
white
Jesus.
supremacist kind of Jesus that comes out of the need
He parts
to
the walls
represent
instead of
Jesus
tearing
in a
them
way
down.
that vibes with
Sure.
the folks who are wanting to spread that image. And so that I think you can incrementally change how you want to represent Jesus, but if you take too large a step, you can't gain the purchase that you need to among your audience. And so I think it's incrementalism is the way to develop your own personal Jesus, as the great poet once said.
Any depictions of Jesus that don't have that vibe, that don't bring people along with it, those fall away and we don't remember them.
They tend to, yeah. And this is the cool thing about some of the earliest depictions of Jesus that we have, because the shoulder length hair and medium length beard Jesus really originates around the 4th century CE. And in the 2nd and 3rd century, what we see, sometimes Jesus is represented as kind of a youth at his baptism, where he's even a little androgynous. He has kind of meatier hips and, almost the appearance of breasts, but we see him as a younger character.
He's
And
got
then you
boobies?
see representations of
What's going
him
on
that
there?
are kind of drawing on the representation of young deities. The Good Shepherd representation of Jesus is as a young, beardless, medium length hair, kind of Adonis figure. And this is like Dionysius. This is how the younger deities are represented. And so the earliest depictions of Jesus have him reflecting the conceptualization of young popular deities. And then in the 4th century, it's the Zeus and Apollo ideas of a deity as having longer, curlier hair and a longer beard. That kind of takes over.
That iconography of the king of the gods having long hair and beard, that was well established by that point.
Yeah. In fact, we do see it around the 1st and 2nd century, obviously in Greco-Roman statuary and
I mean,
art
we have
and
that
things
Jesus
like that.
and
There were a
Buddha
bunch
anime,
of different conceptualizations that are kind
which
of
was pretty
competing
good.
for each other.
Right.
You had the philosopher Jesus, and the
Which
philosopher
is also kind of like a long hair beard vibe.
it's
Just a
usually
little bit. What's
medium
good?
length
Why
hair
does-
and a beard vibe, but it's kind of like a messy one. Like I don't know if you're aware of that website. I don't know if
Never
it's still
late, you're
around,
exactly
but
on
it's like
time.
homeless man or tenured professor. It's kind of the scruffy hair. And
Yeah.
you know, like Socrates is represented as kind of being short and ugly. Like
Right.
you had
He's
a bunch
always,
of
like,
different
slouching.
You had kind of this stock imagery that was associated with your philosopher, and then you had your good shepherd, and then you had your youthful deity, and then you had your elder deity. And so there were a bunch of different things that were kind of competing for how are we going to represent Jesus. And then the 4th century, it's really the Byzantine representation of Jesus as the elder deity that kind of takes over. And this is where imperial power becomes linked with Christianity. And so that's probably
fascinating.
what helps that conceptualization to become anchored to how we're going to think about Jesus. And you have the Pantocrator and the Cosmocrator representations of Jesus that become phenomenally popular in European art, starting in the 4th and 5th centuries and going all the way down to the 19th and 20th centuries, where you start to get lighter colored hair, lighter colored skin, as white supremacy starts to bubble closer to the surface.
Yeah, as like our conception of what race is and how much it matters.
Is our God going to be more like us or more like the people
Thank
that
you,
we're
Pastor.
enslaving and
We
oppressing?
already got
And obviously,
Mongolian
we want them
Jesus.
to be more like us. When Christianity in the Roman Empire is headquartered in Constantinople, you have usually what's considered the start of the Byzantine Empire. You have people from that part of the world who are in charge of things, and so the art is representative of that culture.
Right, and so at that point, of all these different competing images, the one that is sort of more aligned to the Greco-Roman elder deity is the one that becomes very popular.
That becomes the most popular one, and it gets pretty securely embedded in the foundations of our understanding of who Jesus is for the next 1600 years.
So this is much more of an evolutionary process, and mimetically evolutionary, where it's like, what is the version of Jesus that is stickiest for people, that is doing all of the work of making people feel like this is an authority that they're going to live their lives by, that they're going to believe in.
Yeah, it's
Pretty
without
much.
any kind of firsthand account. The best you've got is what look is going to get the point across. And what is that point that we want to get across? Is it philosopher? Is it miracle worker like Moses? Because you have some in some of the catacombs in Italy.
Well, why does to catch you up? We talked about. I mean, he's here. He's been hanging out in chat the whole time. We talked about the Epstein stuff. We talked about the cover-up. We talked about the connections and Jelane's pardon that's on the way. We talked about religious stuff. We talked about Dr. K. We got some hip-hop stuff. And now we're back on why Jesus isn't white.
Italy, you have Jesus with what looks like a magic wand. It's like a mini Moses staff, and he's like, dude, but he's got
Curing
the shorter
lepers.
hair. You've got what kind of Jesus do you want? And the Pantocrator, the cosmic ruler and all that, becomes the central and the dominating Christ of the Roman Empire and the Byzantine Empire. And then into Europe, we've got European imperialism. Obviously, they want that big iron fist cosmic ruler Jesus.
How much of what you're telling me is like pretty like settled
Cosmic ruler
stuff,
Jesus.
and how much do you feel like is like where you're coming from?
I think it's fairly settled stuff. There's a great New Testament scholar named Joan Taylor who published a book back in 2018. I think it's called "What Did Jesus Look Like" or something like that, where she reviews kind of where the scholarship has been.
Joe's been up in here blaming atheists for everything and said that Stalin was worse than Mustache
about
Man.
these kinds of things. Certainly, we have no
I
first-hand
disagreed.
account of who Jesus
Yeah.
was. The notion that these early depictions that we're seeing in the catacombs and that we're seeing carved in sarcophagi and things like that, those are supposed to reflect classical motifs associated with young gods and older gods and all that kind of stuff. That's a consensus view. I don't really think there's much doubt at all about that. And then we have a bunch of these letters, the letter of Lentulus and the accounts of Pilate and all these. And these are widely agreed to be medieval and later forgeries. And those are the ones that are they're saying, oh, we had shoulder length hair and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, there's not really a lot of room for debate about this, because the notion that anybody has uncovered or is going to be able to uncover any kind of direct evidence. I think there was a body that was discovered first century ish in a place called Al-Qadama, which is the field of blood, you know, where Judas was supposed to have died. The hair was preserved on this body, and it was kind of auburny hair, and it was about 3 to 4 inches in length. So that could have been representative of the standard coif
I believe his
at the
answer
time
is
period,
God
but
did it.
it probably wasn't somebody who was native to the area, because this grave site was generally used for foreigners, for outsiders, for people who did not have family in the area. So like that's the closest we can get to actual archaeological evidence of what somebody might have looked like. The folks who study artistic representations of Jesus, and they're all in pretty widespread agreement. There's not a ton of debate.
I'm actually much less interested in what Jesus actually looked like and more interested in how we settled on a look. Can I ask you to speculate now?
Okay.
Why do you think that the sort of Adonis younger god image of Jesus was sort of competitive there for a little while?
It probably was something that helped the earliest followers of Jesus in the marketplace of ideas, because there are ways that early Christianity kind of looks and acts like a mystery religion. A lot of the mystery religions were associated with rather young deities.
Is that a term, a mystery religion?
A mystery religion would be a religion that had kind of secret rites, where they went into caves, they went underground, they did it in the dark of night, they did different kinds of rituals that were not open to the public.
Appealing.
Yeah, and a lot of these were popular in the 1st and 2nd century in the Greco-Roman world. The figure of Jesus, early Christians were probably trying to compete with those. When you look at the way early Christianity is described, like the earliest description of Christianity that we can probably count on is Pliny the Younger, who says that it's a religion for women and slaves. And so these
Wow. That statement alone kind of covers it. And like it goes back to that video we were watching earlier about politics and religion. Like literally it's just a means of control. And so who do politicians tend to want to control? Women and slaves. That's crazy. I got to run that
is
back.
described, like the earliest description of Christianity that we can probably count on is Pliny the Younger, who says that it's a religion for women and slaves. And so these would have been people who, you know, were not participating in the large scale public things. These are people who probably would have found a lot. What's that?
The meek.
Yeah, absolutely. That's who Jesus's message would have resonated
It's like, y'all
with,
just
and those
pipe
were the
down
people who
for a bit,
probably
you
would
know,
have
you'll
gotten
get yours in
down
the
with,
end.
"We got a meeting,
but for now,
middle
you
of the
just have
night,
to suffer in
we're going on
silence.
this
And what a weird thing to have become like the thing that is the figurehead of the Byzantine Empire.
Well,
and then also, you know, the current conception of
This was better than I
Christianity
thought
as
it was
sort of
going to be.
dominant force in culture.
I think the conceptualization of Jesus as more the cosmic ruler is one of the things that facilitated that pivot away from this is the religion of the downtrodden to this is the religion of empire.
Right.
And I think you even see that in the Hebrew Bible, because you have two different conceptualizations of God. You have El, who is the Northwest Semitic patriarchal high deity, who's benevolent and kind. And then you have Adonai, who is...
And keep in mind, El was the same god of the Philistines, or which you would probably say is the Palestinians at this point. So they were both worshiping literally the same god, and their god, I guess, liked them more. And this is where we end up.
Is the Northwest Semitic storm deity, who is a youthful warrior. And, you know, the divine profile that you want front and center is whatever is going to serve your interests. And so the folks who want to go conquest, they're going to have the warrior deity out front. The folks who want a god who's going to ensure that their child is born healthy and that they can be breastfed and stuff like that, they're going to have the benevolent elder statesman deity front and center. And so I think the Roman Empire was like, we're going to go with the the cosmic ruler guy. And this is around the same time period
Well,
that
they both
women
were in the same
lose
exact
their
spot.
leadership status in the church, because you have women who they're the patrons of churches. They own them, they fund them, they have leadership roles in the churches. And it's like the 5th, 6th century when you stop seeing inscriptions acknowledging the ecclesiastical leadership or the funding of women. And I don't think it's a coincidence that this is when the power shifts.
It's always
to the
men.
empire.
I interrupted you as you were talking about the women and slaves being who Christianity was for, and that having to do with the youthful deity look.
Yeah, I think the youthful deity, the Good Shepherd, is associated with that youthful deity. And I think that the Good Shepherd is one of the earliest depictions we have of Jesus, where he's kind of a lithe, younger figure, and he's got like a lamb on him, and he's got the shorter curly hair and no beard. And I think that would have been the kind of figure that would have resonated more with folks who are looking for guidance and leadership and are looking for someone who's going to understand they're kind of coming from the gutter position. If you're a Les Mis character,
Started from the bottom.
the
not
Good
a
Shepherd who's out in the field and works with his hands and is young is going to be more appealing than, you know, the guy in the toga and the staff with the long hair and the beard. I think that plays into it as well, that you have the
Not far off,
downtrodden
no,
and
not far
the
off.
social outcasts who are looking for a deity who's going to be easier to relate to. And then the Roman Empire gets hold of him and they're like, no, we need to beef him up. We need to make him someone we can, who can say, by this sign, conquer, and we can put on the banners and take to war.
It makes a lot of sense given how I sort of imagine how humanity works, which is it's all evolutionary. You know, it's all sort of like what works in a moment, and what something looks like to me now in 2025 might not be pushing all the same buttons as it did if I look at like one of these sort of Byzantine pieces of art with Jesus sort of as a flat haloed deity, but I'm sure that it held that sway to them.
Yeah, we are looking through very different interpretive lenses, and we have very different experiences. And so obviously it's going to resonate differently with us. And the halo comes from Greco-Roman art as well. That is drawn from their representation of divine beings as well. So it's very clearly drawing from the broader artistic milieu to try to probably attract folks from the broader culture. So there's a missionary element to it as well, but also to give the folks
I think
who
that's
are
a Jason
inside
movie
the
you're thinking
movement
about,
a
Zephyr.
sense that their own deity is
I believe it was
on
called
the same
Jason
level,
X,
can
not
compete
Jesus.
with them, is of a similar type.
Well, I feel like my curiosity has been satisfied so much more in the last 20 minutes than it has been in hours of Googling and reading Quora articles and Reddit threads from people who were occasionally on the same track as you, but largely not. And a fair number of people who thought that it was really sacrilegious to depict Jesus with long hair.
Oh, really?
Because it says in the Bible that was not a good way for men to.
Yeah, you have Paul saying, isn't it? Doesn't even nature itself testify that it is shameful for a man to have long hair? And
it doesn't even nature itself. I guess it's taken us a while to realize how cultural we are.
Well, yeah, and that's why I don't listen to Paul when Paul says, "This is nature, man." I say, I don't think you know what nature is, Paul. But yeah, at that time period, the medium to short hair would have been more stylish. It would have been healthier because lice was very common.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that just
then. And so
Keanu?
the longer your hair was, the harder it is to keep clean, the more likely you are to get lice. So that was for the elite as well. That is something that kind of makes you go, when you read that and then you look at your picture of Jesus hanging on the wall and you're like, that's pretty long hair.
Well, Dan, thank you so much for taking a little time out of your day and satisfying my curiosity very effectively. It makes so much sense that it would be about, people's conception of what is easy to believe in and what they want to believe in, what different groups of people want to believe in, and that competing images of Jesus in particular is fascinating.
And even today, you can get on Twitter and you can see everybody's concept of Jesus or God is all different, very much made in their own image and all intended to compete with the others, because you don't want a Jesus somebody can't relate to. Then they're not going to stick around.
And kind of there you have it. I don't know why Google failed me so much, but that is a story that both makes intuitive sense and was also very illuminating and illustrative in terms of the details. So that was cool. Glad that I got to do that. Thanks to Dan McClellan. You can find his YouTube channel. It's linked in the description. He's also on all the other social media. Very cool and smart guy.
All right. So, what are we going to close out on? Because it's about that time. Let's see if I have something stored up. Oh yeah, I was gonna put this on because it's funny.
目覚めた人、ブッダ。
Hey, look what I can do! Deer teeth, for you!
神の子。
Thank you, Zephyr. Okay, I'll run that.
二人は言わずと知れた仏教とキリスト教の祖である。
I don't know how I get hot chicks falling down. But yeah, Jesus and Buddha had a bromance anime, and it was amazing. Okay, I've seen this one. Let's see what we got. Where's a decent one? And we're looking. This one's random.
Are you jumping on this? I got it. Here you go, bro.
Oh, you linked one?
Are you gonna rap for me?
I'm a fan, first of all.
thank you,
I want
man.
to say I even
Yeah.
watched the behind the scenes of how you built the rig.
You know how it works. All right, wait. So what are you? Oh wait, hold on. I gotta make you like I gotta make you a proper beat for you to sing over.
Yeah, man. What's going on?
Dude looks like a super dark-skinned Magic Johnson.
Yo, bro, you can't walk past the firing point. What? Oh, what up, man? I don't even know where I was, man. What up, though? Yeah, I am. Yeah, do you not want to be seen? You getting on? Oh, okay. You want me to come in? You sure? All right, side quest.
Side quest.
What's
Let's
up,
go.
man?
I'm gonna run this back.
Yes, sir, every day.
What's up? Every day, it don't stop, man.
Trying to do
I see a different vision.
Trying to do a song right there.
What are you feeling?
I don't know. You started off, man. As long as we singing some fire shit, man, I'm with it, bro.
All right, that sounds
You know
good.
how we do.
What is that t-shirt? That's Smash Mouth?
Ooh, I like those chords.
Fell in love on a Sunday. How you feeling today? I think she like that Douce with that lemonade.
You don't really know a chubby nigga with a flow. I promise you I got a status and a quote. She a fly girl cause she love me though. Super 5 flicks and golly though. She told me that she really got my bag. Hold on, baby, don't you hold back. I met her at Sweet Chick, but then she waited on Friday till I got paid, yeah. Excuse my front sway. I promise you I serve you first in the plate. Oof, oof, just wait. You can take your time anyway. I'm trying to get used to you. I'm trying to get used to you. Yo, baby, tell me what's up. Yo, can we just fall in love? Yeah, fall in love, baby. On a Sunday, yeah. Fell in love on a Sunday. I'm trying to get used to you. Yeah, when we in the room. She told me that she really got my back. Hold on, baby, don't you hold back. Yeah.
Yeah, that vibe, I'm trying to reach it. I came inside of a sweet chick. Whoa, that's inappropriate. It's okay, yeah, I dignified and flow on it. Gotta drop it down just so I can lift it up. Got them clapping quick, they gotta listen up. I know that you feel this. This goes out to all my sweet chicks. This goes out to all my sweet chicks. You can lock in when I fill up the room. Hey, and they jump and listen to what I'm doing.
Fell in love upon that sun.
Didn't know he had bars too. Fair enough.
Yeah, fell in love on a Sunday. You the sweetest of all.
This is fire.
one more time. Hell yeah.
Kill that.
Oh, yeah, man.
We'll be back to eat sometime soon. All right, man. Thank you, guys. Yo. Thank you.
That was great.
Whoa. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Yo. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Oh, it's cool there.
I see you looking real good in that red dress, baby. Looking real good in that red dress, baby. You're looking real good. I see you looking real good in that red dress, baby. Looking real good in that red dress, baby. You're looking real good.
Follow my man. He's a legend. Donate.
Oh, yeah. You look familiar. Yo.
What is homie wearing?
I do raps for the New York.
Nothing matches.
Like that.
Oh, yeah. What's up, man?
You think you could cook up? I know you're a fucking genius. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
You think you could cook up a beat like this?
Here, wait. Play it over here. Oh, I wish I had like a good sample. Maybe, honestly, I'll make a sample real quick. Just give me a moment. All right.
Hook off the honey pack. Real talk.
Give me the keys, give me the car, give me the flow back. I'm not the one to go at. Fuck around me, the Timberland booted and hit the dome at. You think you lonely now, I'ma send you the Bobby Womack. Had to switch up the format. Super gremlin, I'm Kodak. Quit it and never go back. Hang it up on the co-rack. Mama told me to get up, go and get me a
Out of
gold
nowhere.
plaque. PSA the rappers should go and pop you a Prozac. Got me disappointed, this game ain't what it's supposed to be. Idols, rivals tell me to say it's true and it's broken me. Blurry brain, unmotivated, I couldn't cope, but we back on a hurricane. And I'm blowing trees, I've been working. Deep inside, I know I'm here for higher purpose. You buy that bitch a Birkin, but you still a dire virgin. They here to fight a surgeon, the haters crying lurking. They always trying to kick me at the game. Kyrie Irving, real talk.
You got any more?
What, any more? All right, yo, we can slow it down a little bit. Is there a way?
I can try.
Okay. Yeah, you know the vibes, man. Let's go.
Well, it's gotta be NYC.
Yo, keep it running. Okay. Well, I'ma do it by myself alone. And I'ma give them hell while you in the elder home. I'm El Capone. You can refer to me as your grace. Step in the room, it's an emergency in the place. They dunking on these rappers, it's clipped like Big Griffin. The Drake vision, models I'm pounding their cake, dick and dream girls. Women I never even imagined of. You stupid thinking that what equates to the cash is love. I met the prettiest every time that I pack the club. Succubuses, blood-sucking bitches and Draculas. So I don't wanna settle down and have a back to rub until I find the one I drop my package off and pack it up. I'm feeling like I'm popular, dandy, you're at the top, I'm so high up. I cannot even eye you with some binocular. It turned me to a Godzilla, top biller, guap to the popping, I'm dropping the top and I'm popping the shot, I'm the top killer, stop it. Call me boy, all my life I've been an outsider. Take your favorite rapper, watch him when the clout dryer. They trying to be somebody else, can't make hits, whole lot of misses, that's what happens when you doubt fire. I've been waiting for this all my life. The ghostwriters turn white when I haunt
This
the
is
mic.
when you
The
doubt
fucking night,
fire.
I'm hungry,
Sick.
taking off a bite. They talk tough, break them bad. Walter White, I'm the stallion, Italian, the piece of the pizza, the reaper surrounded. Speak on the feature, they come to the jungle to seek for the creature. My bro, a Madonna, La Isla Bonita. I don't need no Maury, bitch, I am the father. To this rap shit, I'm just finna Jack and Robin, sending that bitch bonker, so I have to dodge her. I tore your tendon like Aaron Rodgers, jumping off the jet and got sauce like Garner. They can't touch
Nasty.
Danny in his armor. I should've went to Harvard. I know a lot of rappers wanna harm us. Ain't from Seaside, but I'll administer your karma. Generation is sanitation, that's why they talk trash. Put the fear of God in these rappers second I walk past. All class, asking why I linked up with DoorDash. My delivery could eat y'all up, I'm on a warpath, the wickedest. Flow the slickest and meticulous, I spit ridiculous. I'm my Cajun on my Nicholas. Only Rick is slick as this, I've been ripping tennis and ligaments. You coming close to sun, you gon' meet your ending like Icarus. Damn. Come on, man. When I get in that zone, I go. You know what I'm saying? When I get in that zone, I go. That's that.
Oh my god, bro. I knew. I was like, I felt bad. I kept being like, more.
We need more of this shit in the game. All you rappers that claim you're the best rappers, you need to come outside in the streets.
Facts,
That's
man.
what's so special about him. So show love, man. That's
Hey,
love. Music,
thank you,
hip-hop,
man.
let's go.
Bro, killed it.
Crazy pickups.
Were you trying to get on? Yeah?
So I seen what he did. He do like operatic shares, just like
Oh, hell yeah.
Stuff like Clarence Casino, Kid Cudi. My friends will sample.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. And then will you sing over it too?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Also, it'd be fire if one of them did a verse.
We can tell them to come. Just come with us.
Yeah, so I'll do some sample shit.
Yeah, I love Clarence Casino. That's like my favorite producer ever.
Yo,
It's the GOAT.
fucking crazy.
Here, come on this side though.
You wanna give me like some chords?
Yeah. All right, so you're yeah. I'm just gonna play random shit.
Yeah.
Call me in the back with the blonde afro.
All I see is rain.
All right, I'll try to chop something up. All right.
Are we getting somewhere? This is crazy.
What? Pizza cat sighting or pizza rat sighting? What's good?
I breathe, fire in my veins. Who am I? I don't feel the same. I look in the mirror, I see shit clear. Oh, just come again, you know. Who am I? Am I this pain? Who am I? I cry in the rain. Who am I? Who am I? Hey, let me give you a hug like I breathe, oh, I feel,
Ew.
I know
I thought in the YouTube links. Z coming through for us tonight. Making up for every crash out. Hip hop makes everything better. Throw a little John on it.
Tell me if you wanna get some. Yeah, do you want some?
Just random people on the street.
Now niggas know I belong, yeah. I had to get strict on the roster, only do Barbies with long kids. Miami trip seeing her doctor, about to record me a song there. Brody investing in choppers, going yard duffel and soiling. She wanna know if I like her, she said I'm laid back like a lawn chair. I told her my lingo with Tyson, cash her the mill when the song clear. I'ma just hit it like Tyson, we gon' get hot to the bone clear. She getting tired of the Nikes, she wanna go where it's nicer.
It's never over. I cannot walk up into the spot and be sober. Lucky than a 4-leaf clover. Hold on, I'm in a Range Rover. Even if just am I mentally, always feel better off Hennessy. I twice the men they pretend to be. Brody is about building legacies. Brody is about getting funds, huh? Brody, I got this shit 1, 2, 3, Bevies on my D, I get the cash for the free, Shorty wetter than a seed, yeah. I walk up in the spots weekend, they think that boy might be off the lead,
I ain't got time for no leave. Reason why I stay out of reach. No, that nigga can't be me. I just might shoot it from 3. Shorty, she know I'm a geek. I just pop 2 and I tweak.
Got the auto tune on.
I just count it up and repeat.
Pop Smoke. Nah, not even. like
Yo,
homie from the
man,
Migos.
Shout out my guy right here. We on Bowery right now. New York City, make some noise. Shout out to Wu-Tang too. Look, this is New York. They can't stop us. We ain't never forget, you heard?
Should we go to Union Square? Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine just walking around, just streaming a little bit. We should probably just go up. Let's just go up that way.
This is definitely great to listen to.
I never met a girl as sweet as you. You made me do the things I wanted to do. Remember when we first met?
Reminds me of Kamu Tao. This is sick.
The girls I wanted to forget. Mind blowing decision. Mind blowing decision.
Wait, hold on. I gotta make you I gotta make you a proper beat for you to sing over. That's
Yeah, man. What's going on?
What's going on, man? Are you guys
Wayne Blizz in the house live? Lockatron.
Whoa.
We got my boy Gecko.
Wait, so what kind of styles you guys usually sing? Not Liquid D&B, I would maybe guess.
R&B track.
R&B? Will you give me a little melody that I can use? Like, I'm gonna make it from scratch, so
Okay.
give me a little something that I'll use as source.
Brand new. My song is brand new. My song is. Well, I'm the Mr. Pop, don't brag or boast, but my name is well known from the coast to coast. Just a harmonizer man with the funky voice, not the number one to see, maybe the second choice. Well, I'm the master man with the master plan, with the mic in my hand, doing my thing. I said, a mind is a terrible thing to waste, simple and plain. So I put my use selling cocaine. Lickety split, all my dreams came true. Filling prescriptions on
Biggie.
8th Avenue. Hocus pocus, my life almost didn't exist. I got gunned down by a new ambitious pharmacist. I was standing on the corner, sipping a Corona. Gunshot through my head, I thought I was a goner. May he rest in peace, because the brother that shot me that day is the deep.
Coming from a long car ride, when I got out the car and the girl said hi, and she looked real funny like she wanted to cry. Said, let me tell you lady, yo, this is no lie, and you don't do on daily basis. You never ever try to free base it. You know that I ain't no liar. You know what happened to Richard Pryor.
Brand new, our style is brand new. Our style is brand new. We got a brand new song for you, because the world is too rough and people are so cold. They are so cold. Come on, tell them so cold. So bust this is. I'm a good MC. I come from the bottom. Come from a town that they call Black Harlem. Lived on 147th Street where the people had to steal just to eat hot. I think it was the devil's curse, because the block was between 8th and Bradhurst. I say around the area, I hate to say, it looked like one great big alleyway.
Well, I was coming home on the double
Definitely
A,
throwback.
when I met a young lady, she was going my way. She was a pretty young lady and she wasn't a hag. So I got my rap off, I bought a little bag. Said I got off the train 125th, so I bought some bamboo and I rolled 3 spliffs. When I sat on the bench, I began to joke, and the girl said that she wanted to smoke. So I bought her a joint, and then she bought me a beer, and then she whispered something in my ear. She said, Wayne Blizz, you have a point. Let's go to my house, do anything you want.
I must admit the girl was on my tip when we took a trip on a love boat ship. Reservations for 2, just me, not you. Champagne, caviar, in the bedroom too. Brand new, our style is brand new. Our style is brand new. We got a brand new song for you. Our style is brand new. Thank you, New York. Thank you, New York. We're the New York City Float Committee.
Hey, well, nice to meet you guys. You guys killed it, bro.
New York
Are you
City
guys
Smoke
like,
Committee,
are you
not
guys like a
bad.
group? Word. Oh shit.
It's old school b-boying.
I will. Dude, no. Will do, man. Nice to meet you, bro. Thank you, guys. Oh yeah. Those guys were cool as hell.
You're so fine, girl, just like wine. You feeling the vibe with that red dress on.
All right, that's a good one to rate out on. So who we rating tonight? Let's see who's up. We raid Relly. Let's do that. Oh, that was a great vibe.
Yeah, you getting on? Yeah, come on. Let's do it. Can you walk with us for a little? What are you feeling? What do you sing?
Like R&B.
Okay.
Well, thanks for coming and hanging
I
out.
think the SZA song. I
It's
feel
been
like
a blast, and
people
as
ask me, sometimes I
always,
whiff it. What's your favorite SZA song?
Maybe like Snooze.
the chat wins. Chat never misses.
This is gonna be good.
And this was a
All right, I'll figure
blast.
something out.
Catch y'all next week or whenever something crazy comes up. Peace, y'all.